pretty great, right? That'll be like we actually have like a whole bunch
Yes.
of that. But I wanted to say this is the first time we've actually had David Ewing Jr. live on the show. Usually we have to record a thing, at like an hour that's convenient. So it's pretty amazing that we're all able to synchronize while we're doing Neuropa to also have because Raph, you've been recording with David for quite some time as well. So it's pretty great for both of us actually. We're pretty excited to have you, David. Can you hear me, David?
Yes, it's nice to be here. And yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound
Yes,
great.
Yes,
can you
there's
hear
only a
me?
slight delay. Yes, but you go ahead, David. There's
Yes,
just a slight delay with it.
today is a controversial subject. Yeah, today it's a controversial subject about the New World Order or the New World Order. Yes, and the thing is, there are many people who have no idea what the New World Order is. It's an idea, it's a dream for many people. Now, many of the viewers who are listening are from Europe and America, and they seem to forget that an entire world exists out there: Uruguay, Paraguay, Vietnam, Turkmenistan, Armenia, and many other countries there. And they're people, they're not animals. In countries like Armenia or in Albania or Macedonia or in Serbia or Bulgaria, people have no idea what's going on in the world. And the thing is, we're all part of this world, even though we try to deny it. And many people are against the New World Order. Yes, and many people support the New World Order. Well, today we will see a totally different view and different things about the New World Order. Go ahead, Raphael or Andreas.
Well, I was just gonna pull up the meme, where George Herbert Walker Bush says we have a very real opportunity for a new world order, and then I was thinking about the humanity of the peoples of Djibouti, just because. But I think there's a lot to what you're saying. The new
Yes,
world order, the old world order. I mean, what do you think of as the difference between the new and the old? What's the big changeover?
right. Now the thing is, what George Bush said when you mentioned him, George Bush Senior. Of course, it is strange. He mentioned it once during September the 11th, and at some other times he said, "We now have a great opportunity to forge a new world order. Yes, out of
Right.
the chaos. Yeah, and he said, and we will be successful." When he said we, because there are many people who do support the new world order, or they support a world order. And the thing is, he said, I think it was in a separate speech, he said, where we are going to have laws, not the law of the jungle. Now, when he said that, there are people who've never traveled anywhere, never seen anything. They don't know where their electricity is coming from. Right now, you're using electricity,
Right.
yes, or gas, water, or oil, and other things right now just to talk to me. Yes, and you don't realize what they're having to go through to get this. Now, of course, there's going to be many people who are saying free energy, but to do the free energy, you have to set up the systems. Yes, even if you say it's going to be from water or from the air, you will still need some form of resource, like maybe some metals or coal or oil or gas or something for the electricity. Now, the thing is, when they said the law of the jungle, like you mentioned Djibouti in East Africa, yes,
Right.
there's Ethiopia, and there's even villages in North Macedonia. It's like I've been speaking to Macedonians recently, and they say there's many villages that are lawless over there. Yes, and
Right.
the
But
and the thing is,
Djibouti is kind of an interesting case because Djibouti is such a control. I mean, it's controlled by the French and American, the French army and the American CIA, right? Like it's essentially they.
okay, but why? Why? There are many people who are going to say yes, there is a conspiracy. The conspiracy is they lied about history. Half the history they lied for good reasons. Today's the first time I'm saying this, and half the history is for bad reasons. And the thing is, the New World Order is actually divided and run by two different types of people. Half the people, and I can vouch for this, half the people are very good people. They're decent people, and they're trying their best to make everybody's life a better place while we're here. And the other half, yes, the thing is they're profiting from it short term, this and that, and there's an abuse of the system. So the thing is, if people are going to turn around and say, "Hey, the Bible says this, the Quran says this, the Talmud says this, the Hindu Vedas say this," and they're going to come out with religion, look around. Did God build your house? I'm not against God. I believe in God myself. Yes, but the question is, God didn't build your house. God hasn't prepared the clothes that you're working in. Maybe God created the resources, but the thing is, there's jobs that need to be done. Like, for example, we were having protests last week in England and riots,
Right,
against
right.
immigration in England. Yeah, and in England, I will tell you from personal experience, 25, 30 years ago, the police force was actually ridiculous in England. They were backwards, they were abusive, they even used to swear. I've seen it myself, and so on occasions there were officers who were violent and things like this. But right now, in countries like Holland, Denmark, Germany, England, the police are actually very, very, very nice people, except for a minority. I mean, compared to the United States, whoa, I would turn around and think, don't mess with the police there, don't get them angry. In England, people are even abusing police officers in the way they treat them and record it. But the thing is that let's talk about immigration right now. Many people are not aware, just in the Persian Gulf countries, they're more like cities: Qatar, Dubai, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Dhahran in Saudi Arabia. I mean, there's over a million Europeans and Americans and their allies just in the region, just to go get the oil and gas. They've been living there for decades. Do you know this?
Absolutely, and it's. I mean, this has become a lifestyle where you used to hunt and gather wood, and now you're finding propane. It's completely the most
But the
amazing
thing is,
American
since we're
conspiracy.
talking about immigration, so now there's minimum 1 million who are there permanently. Yes, and then there is another 2 or 3 million people coming and going all year round, or they're there on 5 or 10 year periods, and people are staying just in the Persian Gulf region for the oil and the gas. Now, let me say something. Yes, people who are sat there in England, or sat there in Holland, or the United States, or in Canada, who seem to think that there's free energy or something going on there, and they're complaining about these immigrants. Okay, send them all home and get ready to live in the 1950s with one light bulb, or even with a candle. Oh, in them days they had one light bulb. Yes, they could just about survive. But now you've got your mobile phone chargers, your computers, your iPods, your how many light bulbs you leave on during the day, the televisions, everything else, and there's many things that you use. And the thing is, we've actually doubled or tripled or even quadrupled or beyond that for using oil and gas and many other things. So people are turning around, like in Paris, there's lots of Algerians, maybe even more than a million, I'm guessing, throughout France, Holland, places like that, Spain, Italy. I don't even know how many there is. But the thing is, let's just throw them out, yes, and say we don't like them all. We don't like their Muslims also. Throw them out, and then you'll see what they do. What will happen to the oil and the gas? Then we've got
Plus the
so many
irony of just
foreigners
like, how are you
from
gonna
Europe.
try throwing people out from like, look at how close Gibraltar is to Africa. I think Americans don't understand geography generally, but just when you understand how indistinct Africa is from Europe at so many points, it's not something that you can really say is geographically divisible, right? Like, it's something you could very easily get.
Yeah,
If
okay.
you just like
Yeah,
swim, you're gonna get there. I could do this very easily. I
yeah,
mean, right?
probably. I think some people have done it. I'm not sure.
Many people, yeah, and plus there are tunnels. They say because there are monkeys in Gibraltar, so like monkeys that have come, the macaw monkeys that actually existed
God
all the
knows.
way up through. Yeah,
Yes. So now the other thing is, for example, in the Irish Republic, they're taking Albanians there. And there's been protests there against them, saying Albanians are Muslim. Why are they coming? Okay, now, in Europe, in Ireland, you're using electricity, oil and gas. Albania will, through Albania, maybe there will be a pipeline, and there's some agreements for the future. And people are using more and more electrical devices every day. And soon, with artificial intelligence, you're going to probably use double the electricity and the gas, oil and the gas, and these other things. So many of these things, they could just switch it off. They could turn around and say, okay, we don't mind going home, but what about us? What people don't realize is that we are paying them only a fraction of the cost for the oil and the gas. We're actually ripping them off. We're giving them salaries, $300, $400, $500 a month in their country to work for us, just so that we can play, go to the beaches and dance, nightclubs, restaurants. We've got clean streets. We've got everything. Now the thing is, they're only a minority here. In some places, yeah, there's large populations of foreigners. In some places, yes. But the thing is, the benefits. Okay, let's cancel it and let's go back to before 1950. What are you going to do? Send your sons to invade Algeria and kill them because you want things from their land, but then you don't want to give them anything back. You don't want to give them the cash. That's why they take these migrants. You don't even want to pay. Oh, yeah. And then the amount of people who are just getting free government money saying, hey, I'm an alcoholic in Europe. Millions of people in Europe and America. Hey, I'm a drug addict. Millions of people are, I take regular drugs. I can't work. Hey, I'm a single mother because, people didn't care about the family system. All these, fathers who are just having babies who don't even care, just dump the child and things like this. Who's going to look after these things? And then they're saying Islam is a bad system. Okay, let's say you are the elite in the New World Order. Yes? Yes, can you hear me, Andreas?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, so now let's say us three are the elites. We tax people, but the thing is we're rich anyway, so we have to spend it on the economy. Now, let's say that Raphael is looking after a Muslim country, let's say Saudi Arabia. Andreas is looking after the United States. I'm looking after Europe. Now, Raphael, in his budget, he's got more cash. And the people in Saudi Arabia, they could buy more cars, beautiful things. They can hire workers as servants in their homes. They've got more cash. But Andreas, you and me, we've got less cash. Do you want to know why?
What are we doing with our cash? Why do we
No,
have
we're
cash?
not spending anything. We're not doing anything. It's the people. They don't want to look after their parents after the age of 60. So do you know, we as the state, we've got to pay for you
true.
and me.
Okay, but just briefly,
so the thing is now,
David, before we go on, I have to push back on this just a little bit. So again, this is a conversation we are always having, because right now, of course, you're talking about the elite, and that may be well and good. But to what extent is the population even involved in any of the decision making? To what extent do they even understand what's going on? And to what extent are they at the absolute mercy of, at least now, decades at the very least, of absolute brainwashing, which is today, I guess, obvious to anyone who has even one eye open. So this is always the things I bring
people
forward.
Are going to say
what to say
brainwashing.
about this.
Okay, if people are going to say brainwashing, now the thing is, many people are not aware of this. Shanghai, the Europeans went there. They invaded, they looted, they murdered, they raped. Yes, Europeans. Yes, and then when they went there in the 19th century, after that, they built a city there. Many people, Tartarian people, will say some of the buildings are older. Okay, that's history, but previous history, that's a different topic. But now the thing is, they brought a lot of these people from Southeast Asia, and they brought them like animals, like servants, like dogs, even beating them up, torturing them, abusing them, using millions of them for mining, farming, while life was a ball, like a dream for them. Just look at Shanghai in the 1930s and 40s, how they were living compared to the local people who they basically brought as slaves. And that's why we've got the people today there are called Chinese, Shanghai, Wuhan, Chongqing, and these places. So they brought all these people. So now what they did is they made sure they destroyed their whatever their original culture or system was. Yes, so that you can control them, rule them, so that then you can carry on living the way you want. This is what we're doing in Europe and America right now. And this system cannot continue. It's part of colonialism. It's like our clothes are made abroad.
It's freaking crazy. How could you imagine like an entire generation that goes to conquered people's lands and has those people make them food and set them up sun chairs in front of pools they've built for them? What the heck is this?
Yes.
This is like Caesarian Romania. This is the most
Oh,
tragic period in
but
history that tourism
about the
exists
New
this
World
way.
Order? Yes, you're right. That's one. And then what Raphael said, the brainwashing. Okay, let's have a look at this brainwashing more deeply. Now, the thing is, I've normally I've spoken and showed the negative side of the New World Order. This time, I'm going to show the positive side. All the negative side, people can read in my books. There's lots of conspiracies. Everybody's out there going on and on and on and saying it's bad. But let's have a look. Yes, traffic lights. You need law and order. Stop at a traffic light, it could kill somebody. So right now we could freeze to death, or we are going to lose our beautiful lifestyle if the New World Order collapses. Let's send the
Absolutely.
immigration bomb.
One of the worst things, I talked to Raf about this when we were in Croatia together, and it was an experience we had that when I used to live in Croatia in earlier times, you had corruption because it was after the Yugoslavia, and so the corruption was you pay off cops. If you can pay off cops, you can afford to be
Yes,
doing what you're doing, and it's fine, right? There's no more corruption in Croatia. I mean, oh,
yes,
that's not
correct.
true. But they do have the cops are no longer paid to go be bribed. Instead, you have
Yes,
traffic robots, these cameras, and the cameras make you slow down at certain points, which are to keep you safe. The only reason,
yes,
if you go faster than that point, it would be dangerous in that place. Otherwise, you can kind of just drive like Germany.
yes. So there are benefits to the New World Order, but let me tell you what
They
happened in
call it
Shanghai.
order. They call it order for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but by 1947, 1948, hundreds of thousands of Western people and their allies were leaving from China everywhere. People can find videos, Exodus from Shanghai. You could find it on YouTube and many other videos, and you'll be shocked. You'll see thousands of people going, and that's many of them went to Australia, Canada, and things like this. But they originally came from Europe. And they abused people. So now, when the Chinese the slaves got intelligence. So many people are saying Planet of the Apes. They think it's a joke. So these people got intelligent, and then Chairman Mao made a mistake. But he pointed out something that's very important: the Shanghai Exodus. There's videos on YouTube for that, and in the videos, it's shocking to see the amount of people that are going. But the thing is, the slaves turned out and said, "We no longer are going to be slaves." But there was a major thing. It wasn't just Shanghai, it was all over China. The Europeans and their Western allies, they were just going. It's like the slaves had woken up, and they had enough. But when they woke up, there was a new problem. Chairman Mao, the thing is, they took over all the other buildings, and they should have made an agreement with the Western world order for what their benefits will be. So along comes Deng Xiaoping in 1979. He was the leader. Can you still hear me? Ah, yes, you can. Yeah, Deng
Yep.
Xiaoping in 1979. Now, the thing is, many people don't know about this, but I'm just going to give you an average idea of the agreement in China. Yeah, secret agreements. Now, many people won't believe this. This is when China opened up. Yes, and realistically, yes, there's people in Australia right now, and they're going to say David is actually speaking up for certain parts and points in the New World Order. And because when I went to Sydney and Melbourne, it looks like up to half the cities are now, Asian immigration, China, Taiwan,
Yeah,
Hong
but I
Kong.
was thinking, I was just thinking to myself, and we just got banned in China because, like, I don't know if they
Uh,
don't feel as. Go ahead.
Okay, but let me tell you the reality. I've never said these things, but I'm going to say them. It's because I've realized there's so many truthers out there, and many of the truthers have got hate. And the thing is, many of them are just out for their own gains, PayPal's, a number of viewers, things like this, adverts, and many gains. Many of them actually are. And the reality is, they don't realize is that what they could do is cause instability, violence. I mean, in England, they were throwing bricks at police officers, injuring them. Nice men who've never hurt anybody, many of these police officers. They're actually so nice, I'm not joking to you, that I turn out and think, how could they have become so nice compared to 25, 30 years ago? The majority, anyway. So the thing is, if you want to protest, go ahead and protest. I mean, why the hell are you attacking police officers? Now, about the immigration. Stop the Albanians from coming to
Well,
England.
I just want to say, because as a Californian raised by like leftist Wiccan lesbians, basically, that the communists probably got to me at some level, because I always was
It's not
told
about communism. There is no real communism.
Deng Xiaoping is like Trotsky for Chinese people, and pretty cool. And that's
Yeah,
like,
it's not
as a
real
Californian,
communism.
as a Californian, that's a compliment. Like Deng Xiaoping,
Okay, okay,
everything I've heard about
okay.
him, basically, we're told, and yet I'm worried to say that, because I believe the PRC kind of Stalin erased him, right? They don't really like talk. They think he
Okay,
had some
okay.
errors, right?
The reality is there are people who are above them who are pulling the strings. Now, the image we've been given of communism isn't really what we're saying communism. Same like, I remember there's a friend in England, just a normal girl. This is common. Millions of people in Europe and America don't know. I turned around to her and I said, I just got a call from Tokyo. And I said, oh, Tokyo is amazing. I've got to go. I'm going to Tokyo. Do you know what she said to me? What's a
What?
Tokyo? What is a Tokyo? She didn't know. Yes. So the thing is that now let me explain to you. So it's not communism as in communism. Yeah, they did stars, uniforms, things like this. But when they threw out the Europeans, they realized something, because the Europeans, Europe was the center of the old world order. Whatever the old world order is, it's described more in details in my books, Tartaria. There's a whole series of the books, and the thing is,
Look at these
whoever
hats,
destroyed,
right? Yeah.
yeah. That's because the Russians were in the north and they gave Beijing to the Chinese, just after the Second World War. Stalin did. They didn't have to. Yeah, many people don't know this. The thing is, so let me tell you about this is really important what Raphael said. So now the Chinese made a mistake. They didn't realize that whoever destroyed the old world order, they they took control of all the technology, all the science, almost all the skyscrapers. In let's say if you check in Shanghai, in Wuhan, in Changsha, in Qingdao, wherever you go in China, or Kuala Lumpur, or even in Dubai or wherever, yeah, you'll see companies like Samsung who are involved in the design. Can you imagine building a skyscraper? You've got to make it stable so that it doesn't rock, so that it doesn't collapse. When you go through the designers, architects, normally you'll find for many of them in China, some company in California. Yeah, I think they're a Jewish company, a Jewish managed company. Now, we'll talk about Israel in a minute, yeah, because there is the Jewish New World Order conspiracy theorists. And I've said theorists because many people have no idea what's going on. Look at these buildings. How are you going to keep them stable? Yeah, and the thing is, the apartments in New York, 10, 20 floors. I mean, we've got thousands of these apartments all over the world. And the thing is, the technology was kept by a group of people. Now, these group of people, the thing is, they're not after money. The old world has been destroyed. Now, within that group of people, there are some people who are saying we want money or control in this new world order. So therefore, there is corruption. And then, as you said, in Croatia, the police force, it's still like that. In, you could say, probably in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, even in China, unfortunately,
It
the
was a
police
little
force.
it
But
was a
nobody
little like
wants to
that
speak.
it was a little like that in Bosnia, except the Muslims are so orderly and responsible. The corruption really wasn't existent. It seemed like they completely wiped it out through religion, which
Yeah,
was kind of interesting.
it's like because when you turn and say God is watching, so
Bosnia was
watching.
doing pretty good. Well, if God's not watching, then somebody with a bunch of rocks are, because Bosnia is nuts.
Yeah,
I'll tell
but
you what.
that's an advantage. Like I said, when I toured the Middle East, yeah, I found it safe in most Middle Eastern places because
Right.
there's always God
Because
is
you're
watching. So that's
kind of a
fine.
goody two shoes like me. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But
As
but
long as
but
you walk in
if
the
you're in
light, you don't
Latin,
have to worry about the shadow. It's true.
just go to Latin America and you have to worry about the shadow, where God is not watching and you don't have these Muslim beliefs. But anyway, for Raphael's question, so let me tell you the big agreement in 1979. So the Chinese, when they got rid of the Western world order, what they had was nothing. Nothing. No technology, no machinery. They didn't even know how to do it, so the country cannot develop. So Chairman Mao and his allies, they turned around and thought, they said something. During the 19th century and early 20th century, what nobody knows, Europe and the white races had amongst the highest birth rates in the world, that they were outnumbering many other countries around the world.
Okay, I will say
The
this.
thing
I
is,
will
they
say
had
this. China had the best propaganda of any country, the best art of any propaganda of any country,
that's what
of
we're
any
told in the
culture
media.
in the world.
No, you're looking at the 1960s, but the
Yeah,
reality is most people were living in the villages. They didn't have a television set. Nobody
right.
saw this propaganda.
No, but
Actually, if you go to
they would go
China,
into these towns and they would put up on rice sticky these
no, no, no,
paintings that
no,
were
no,
brought
no, no,
in
no,
paid
no.
for by
The
the
towns,
Rockefellers.
many of the No, many of the towns were small. The history of this communism is actually a total scam. Same like in
Right.
all the rest of the world. It's for nationalism today. But so now China didn't have no technology, no machines. So Chairman Mao turned around and said, have many children. And then they thought, without machinery, they thought we're going to, create steel, do mining, this and that with our human labor, everything. And they tried it. It was a failure. Then by the 1970s, they were begging the Soviets, the Russians, for machinery, things like that. But Russia was a big place. They're looking after Eastern Europe, which was already destroyed because of World War II and the interwar period. So they couldn't provide them enough. So along comes Deng Xiaoping in 1979. Look at this. It's a joke. They used this sort of labor without the machinery. So Deng Xiaoping opens up to the West. And Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger, he was the man. Now, many people are going to say, oh, yes, we all know the New World Order, Henry Kissinger. It's all in my books, Illuminati Games and the rest of them. So I will tell you now a kind of secret private agreement. And you're going to think, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So there are people in Australia, in New Zealand, in Canada, in the United States who've had enough, thinking, what are all these Chinese doing here? And they're being so racist. I mean, there's so many racist attacks and a lot of abuse. It's just ridiculous. But now, like, when people know this agreement, they're going to think, oh my God, we are ripping them off. We are cheating them. So China basically had nothing. Even Shanghai was a dump. It basically didn't develop after the Europeans left, apart from shanty towns, realistically. So in 1979, the agreement was this, that in Europe and America, people had enough of working 9 till 5. And there was pollution everywhere from the factories in the 1950s and 60s. Just look at all the industrial mills in New York, in Chicago, Los Angeles, Manchester, Marseille. If you see it, the smog, ridiculousness, it was a depressing life in Europe, in the West. So what they did was they moved all the machinery to China. And here is the agreement. I'm giving a basic idea, a summary for the entire agreement for China. So now the machines were open 9 till 5, and then Mel Gibson, he complained. I think he complained or he commented on it, saying, "Hey, they're taking it to China." But I will tell you, we benefited from it, and the world economy moved forward by over 200-300 years in the last 50 years because of the decisions that the people in power made. Yes, and the thing is, shall I tell you what the agreement was now, Raphael? The agreement was this, that China will take the machines. These machines run 9 till 5. And we've got all these miners who are protesting, the factory protest, people want more money. And in Europe, we made our own clothes, our own light bulbs, our own tables, our own chairs. We had to do all mining of the metals. We had to, and we were worried that we'd given up all the colonial empires. We no longer can abuse people, rape them, torture them up, chop their hands off, things like this, because the Japanese fought back in World War II, even though we're going to make it out like they were tyrants. And the Muslims fought back in World War II, even though we'll make it out like they're terrorists. But they fought back saying, get out, you can't stay here. You've been here 100 years. We're not your slaves. We're not your dogs that you're moving us around. Yes, and forcing us to do this, that, whatever. So, and they say that the final.
There's like a sexualized propaganda made for the elite about having their own guy who can secretly go in and kind of just like shoot them out or poison them or take them out, or all of a sudden there comes to be an emotional response.
The thing is, those are fights amongst the top families and many of the wealthy people above. Now, the thing is, because I've met government ministers, I've met multi-millionaires or what you call billionaires. I've met many of these people through my travels and through my career. Now, the thing is, what I can say to you is that when you're rich, you no longer want money. It's not about money. It's like today, just in the last 2 hours. I told you, I just sent 100 euros to two poor families in Africa. And the thing is, I didn't want to, but it was like an emergency. They said they needed it for food. So I just sent it them straight away. I know them personally. Now, the thing is, people are talking about the immigration. So first, let's finish the Chinese thing off. So what they did is the factory is 9 till 5. And let's say you produce one pair of shoes in America or one shirt in the cotton mills in England in the 1960s. So now you move this factory to China. And what you do is you play games with the international currency system. So thereby you could pay them a lower salary. It's called currency manipulation and interest rates in the global banking. Yes. And the thing is, so now you get less and less Chinese RMB year by year as their economy develops. But the purpose of doing it, one, was in Europe and America, the people were greedy. They wanted more, more, more. And you can't keep doing it. They wanted more of this, more time. They didn't want to work in these factories. So they didn't want to work. They were protesting. The 1970s were a joke. Look for the miners' protest in England. I don't know about in America. And you see the Martha Scargill and all this. It looks like a joke. And then the riots in Northern Ireland and all these things, what was going on between Protestant Catholics. And then everyone knew that communism was going to collapse. How long are they going to keep them under there? And the thing is, the people want clothes, they want houses. I mean, before 1990 in Croatia, yeah, everyone knew. Even in Zagreb, the electricity was switched off.
But I mean, isn't that kind of the beautiful point, and like, to your credit and to even David Rockefeller's, that we had a very real opportunity for a new world order. Okay. We had a very real opportunity. That's all it was. It was an opportunity.
Okay, right now, Raphael and Andreas, you're both wearing clothes. You're looking at the screen, speaking through these microphones that have been made in places like China, Vietnam, India, Pakistan, Morocco, Algeria, Brazil, Venezuela, Mexico, Nicaragua, and places like this. Now, let me tell you the reality. When they move these factory machines out, let's say, for example, China or Bangladesh. In England, we've got, 1 million Bangladeshis or something. And there's people who are complaining, and they came since the 70s. But the reality is this. Yes, they moved all the factories to these countries, and now these factories are open 24 hours. And I will explain to you how the system works. That's why when you look at the photographs before the 1960s, you see the world is naked, nothing, and all these things. That's why in Saudi Arabia, before the 1960s, 85% couldn't read or write this Quran. That shows the scam that Islam wasn't there for centuries, that the Prophet Muhammad wasn't there. And therefore, even the Quranists and Islamists, and they're giving these meanings, that's a joke and a fake. Yeah, so therefore, even the history of Islam is a lie. But let's show what the agreement is, and you're going to think, oh my God. So now, the same factory that's making your shirt that you're wearing, if right now you would be working in your factory, you would have no time to talk to me. These cameras and these computers would be ready in another 100 years' time, because we didn't have the manufacturing base or the capacity, if they didn't move the machines out to those countries, and if we didn't bring this immigration. Yes, mobile phones would not have been out until the 2050 or 2060, just the first round, like the old Nokia and the Motorola StarTAC, would have been in the year 2060. I'm being serious here. People are going to say, no way. Yes, it is. Yes way, my sir. Have you been to the villages in China where they're working like dogs, even the children, separating the metal parts, plastic bottles, mining in India and things like this? Have you seen it? And you're complaining the Indians are in Toronto, they're in London. It doesn't matter if they're Indian Muslims. Half of them are Muslims, or Indian Hindus, or Indian Sikhs. You're complaining. That's because we sent those things over there based on an agreement so that the majority of us in Europe and America can enjoy the products. Now, let me tell you what the product agreement deal is. Let's say Bangladesh, for instance, or Pakistan, or Vietnam, or Indonesia. What they do is keep the machine 24 hours. And if they don't keep it 24 hours, one, they're only going to pay 1/3 of the salary that you pay in Europe. 1/3. 1/3. The other 2/3 of the salary money came back to modernize Europe and America. That's how we mysteriously made Europe and America so fast, so beautiful after the 1980s. Everybody tells you that after the 1980s, the West turned beautiful. Everybody will say this. It just suddenly turned beautiful, clean air, everything. You've got more time. You could go on holidays. The 80s and the 90s was the beginning. Everybody will say this. Before that, people were working. And then they'll say it started into, it started from, the 1980s, the big rock and roll, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Before that, they knew it was a minority, but it became big. The people had the free time. Because now that the factories are over there, we now can have the service industries in Europe and America. That means office jobs and all the easy jobs. Yeah, we can
It's
all be
like
like
Banana Republic? No, Banana Federation
no,
of
it's not
Planets.
Banana Republic. These easy office jobs are so difficult. You've got to be highly educated and highly trained to even know
That's
how
true.
to build these
That's
skyscrapers.
true.
Yeah, and so those who don't learn, yeah, they've got free government money for the rest of their life. Yeah, and the thing is, we can walk around beautiful streets. I mean, just look at what the streets look like in
That's totally
1955.
true. Like, you can't go to any of these countries without noticing the Rotary Club. You can't go to any of these countries without seeing that they have
Okay, before we
they
get
have
there,
they have marvelous cities. Those marvelous cities do
uh,
matter. When I
okay,
went to
before
Chile and
that,
South America and I saw these
yeah,
towers, I had to
It's
respect
true,
it.
and you literally can. Then just one sentence, David. So, and I agree, at least within the current time frame and current technology, it is great that there is this support, and we have a responsibility
but how
actually
did we get
to
to this
uplift.
technology? How did we get to
Yeah,
this
yes,
technology? I'm good. I know what you're like. Yes, because the way you fight me, so I'm not going to back down. Because yes, we've done 50 videos, all of us guys. I wrote 20 books condemning the bad people in the New World Order, the New World Order. But today, for the good people, I'm going to say this. So Henry Kissinger, yes, he was Jewish. Yeah,
I'm doing
if you
it.
don't like it, so what? And he was one of the greatest people in the century. It doesn't matter because people have got no idea what the
Let the
communism
record
is.
show I
But
waited to
what
pull up
he
his
did
face.
for us, yeah, but what he did for us, let me show you. So now the Chinese, yeah, he wasn't good for them in the third world. So now in the third world, they will be more anti-Jewish than the rest of them. But for Europe and America, let me tell you what the results are. Yes, now if the machine is running 24 hours a day, how many pair of shoes can you make from that one machine in 24 hours?
Bro,
Before you only made
that's
one
my whole
shoe.
life. That's my whole life. That is my whole life because I'll go to Alibaba. I mean, I remember getting things made in those
Wait,
same
not
places
that.
during the
I
gray
think you both didn't get
hours.
it. Raphael, answer me. Ra-
2/3,
yeah, well,
you can make
okay.
two
three to
times
Yes, Raphael,
as
answer
three
me.
long
to
as you make
five
one.
times, 3 to 5 times actually, because they probably work harder as well.
That's true too. That's true too. You Austrian
Yes. So now
economics
the thing
genius,
is,
but
let me
no, but
explain the
let's go
benefits
back
of
to the
this.
picture. It's the
Let me-
Trilateral Commission. They show you the picture right there. It's a recycling symbol. 1/3 of it has to
Right.
go into the system.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
other
Okay.
2/3 of
Okay.
it you can do without will with the rest of the law. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Okay.
The
Okay.
Trilateral
To
Commission's
understand
underrated.
these symbols, yeah, to understand them, if you read my book Secrets of the Kabbalah and the 33 Degrees, you'll understand that. That's a different ball game. That's something else. But I'm talking about the current world order. I'm not talking about the world order that's going to be here in 50 years. We don't know, or what was
This
here
was this was how
150
they
years ago.
this is how they built that. This is because at the time the Teutonic orders wouldn't
Oh,
allow Asians
oh,
into the
okay.
Bilderberg
But let,
group. So they
but
had to
let
build a
me
Trilateral
give you a bit
Commission so
more
they
insight.
could
So, wait,
right.
wait. So now, because of the colonial abuses, we left these people naked. We destroyed their habitats. We even made people from Europe, like I showed in a video with Nachiketa and others, that after the invasion of Moscow, many of these people went to live in the
Right.
deserts. Many people from
Yeah,
Germany and from
realistically,
Poland and Russia.
things weren't that much better in Europe after World War II than they were in China. There were a lot of bomb cities.
They were. Yeah, there were, but let me tell you the agreement now. So now that the machine makes, let's say, 3 pairs of shoes, because 24 hours, 7 or 8 hours a day work shift, 1 hour lunch. So 7 times 3 is 21. So it's like you make 3 pairs of shoes. So what they've done is 1 pair of shoe will come back to Europe and America for free. One shirt will come back for free. So now the other 2 pairs of shoes can go to Latin America, Africa, and Asia. You see, so now we've managed to improve the living standards of poor people. Now there's an American evangelist. He's Christian, and I like him very much. I forgot his name, but he turned around and said just a few weeks ago. He turned around and said, right now we've actually got the capacity capacity to actually build this world so that there's plenty for everybody. And so that's what we're doing. So in the meantime, while we're doing this, I think let's not get hate in the way. It's like if they close the borders, let's say in France, and tell the Croatians, Macedonians, everybody else go home. I mean, Croatia depends a lot on remittances. Yes, in the villages from people who are working in Germany or in Austria.
Right.
It's like if they close the borders in the United States. The thing is, people in Central America, they're sending money back over there. But while we are robbing Central America, we're
Well, but
robbing these banana
let's
republics.
compare. Fair enough, but let's compare that to Germany in World War One or the Axis in World War One, where they were their inflation and destroyed economy led to such hatred that they ended up creating a war effort that led to the Third
But
Reich, right, which was a major.
the history of, yes, Germany's economy collapsed not because of Western whatever. It's because the reality is, it's like it's
No,
not
it's a
just Croatia,
colonial.
Macedonia.
It's a colonial. In a colonial war, when you win a war and you have a war debt afterwards, this isn't even a European thing. Like you go to Africa
Wait,
and you
wait.
kill somebody
There's
else's
more.
tribe,
It's
you owe
like
chickens for the deaths of all
I
those
pointed,
soldiers that died.
I pointed out. Yeah, I pointed out to Raphael that many people don't know that Germany was the Ottoman Empire that ruled Croatia and Macedonia and Bulgaria.
Janissary,
That's
yeah.
why the King of Greece was German. The King of Bulgaria was German. They put these German people there. So the Ottoman
Barbarians,
Empire,
Muslims, what's the
Germany had
difference? Right?
no, the Germans. It was the
Yeah.
German Empire. Now, when the Germans lost their barbarian Muslim empire, you could call it if you want to call it. Yes, when the Germans lost it, that's it. They didn't have the money that they could steal from the rest of the world.
Right, but
That's
money
why
ends up
Germany was
being and
bankrupt after World War
money
One.
ends up being such a weird thing because you can either say, okay, we have contracts of gold from you, but you don't have any gold. So what we have are generational debts that we can force you to do certain kinds of labor, right? And so you look at
Okay,
Egypt after the
I'm not
colonial
talking
British
about the
period,
gold
and
here.
well,
Yeah,
hold on,
yeah.
because in England and
The
in
thing is,
The Egyptian colonial period, they destroyed Egypt by forcing them to grow corn and coffee, right? And tobacco, which destroyed Egypt's economy because they weren't
yeah,
allowed to grow their own food. Ireland, similar
yeah.
thing, which led to the potato famine. Here in China, you have industrialism where you say you have to build these things. Our factories are going to come in and make lead toys for our kids to play with. So isn't that kind of the
And
same
China's
thing?
benefited hugely.
In
300
China, it has,
million people who were living like dogs are now living standards of lifestyle, same like in Europe and America. 300 million, another half a billion
albeit
people
with
are
acid
living the
rain,
lifestyles standards of Croatia.
albeit with acid rain and with mercury in your air and with
It's not
iPhone
so
apps
bad.
that tell you where you can
Believe
breathe,
it
you
or
know.
not, it's not so bad. Yeah, but let me explain to you about the gold that you've mentioned and the depth of Germany. So how is Europe and America functioning today? We are robbing the third world through our neo-colonial New World Order. Now, Germany, when it lost its empire, it can no longer rule Croatia. It can no longer rule Bosnia or Serbia or what they called Yugoslavia. It can no longer rule what do you call it, Greece, Bulgaria, under its proxy states, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Iraq, Turkey, Iran. The Germans were running the show in all these places. So when they lost control of all these places, do you know what happens? It no longer can continue its gold standard and everything. That's what led to the collapse of Germany. Now, the reason why it started picking up when Hitler came. Yes, when Hitler came, there was many credit agreements and many people were funding and many other things. And Hitler managed to make trade agreements, but then these agreements broke down, and it didn't grow so fast as an amazing rate. Germany was already half modern. All he did was reorganized it. It was already modern because they were robbing these countries in the Balkans. Yes, the thing is, and of course, they used Islam. The Germans actually declared the caliphate in World War One, and many people don't know that Islamism and Quranism are so dangerous that today I'm going to say it, that World War One was a result of the German Ottoman Caliphate when they declared that they are the leaders of the Islamic world, that the British and the French were threatened. Yeah, they were threatened because over here we have a beautiful countries, beautiful pavements, beautiful sewage pipes, beautiful telephone lines, because we were robbing, we were thieves. And so now we've got these migrants who are living here from countries that were still robbing and cheating them. I mean, in Europe, we've got a fashion store called Primark. Has anybody ever thought that their factories and the cotton fields are in India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh? And they're complaining. Europe's probably got 2 or 3 million, people from Pakistan and India and maybe 5 million. Yeah, including Sri Lanka, Nepal, and all these places. And they want to throw them out. Go and throw them out, and let's see what clothes you've got left. Primark is a country that they're abusing the people in Bangladesh. I mean, they're paying them 300 euros a month. Yeah, let's bring these factories back to the UK or bring the machineries back to New York. Let's see who's going to work for $300, $400 a month. Let's see who's going to do it. Come on. Come on. So now the New World Order is abusing it. But in the New World Order, there is people who are good there who are saying right now, while this system is running, we've got Europe and America. It's beautiful. Let's keep it stable. If we destroyed Europe and America, let's say protests go out of control, it turns into a revolution. Then after a revolution, it destabilized states like the Balkans or Eastern Europe was after the Russian 1905 revolution. Eastern Europe still hasn't recovered. It's been 100 years since the Balkan Wars. Even Croatia isn't fully developed. I mean, so the thing is, the mistakes, any mistakes. So one, the New World Order, we have benefited. So now what I suggest is, what many people at the top are suggesting, half the people, is let's share this wealth. There's plenty for everybody. That's what to do right now. And the thing is, while the Industrial Revolution was taking place in Europe, the birth rate was so high, people were having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 children. Right now, in the other side of the world, they're having 5, 6, 7, 8 children only because of the Industrial Revolution. But if anybody looks at the Industrial Revolution, every country in Europe, Poland, Norway, everything, it looks like that we've got to the stage whereby even in China, the population is now going to go down. In Iran, it's actually started going down. It's no longer going up. It's because the Industrial Revolution has reached a climax in some of these countries. Now, the places where it hasn't reached a climax is Latin America and sub-Saharan Africa, like Congo, Nigeria, and those places are the places to watch out for. Yeah, and if somebody's going
Latin
to
America's having problems. Latin America's having problems. Look at Chile. Chile is 1.1 is pretty low. Argentina is like 1.8. Those are pretty bad. Those are like the 1.8 is like New World Order is
many
gold.
of the figures are just fake. Many of the figures are actually fake. The thing is, because not about fake. They can't be bothered doing proper, accurate.
I don't know.
Details
I mean, when I'm in Chile and stuff, I see a lot less people. It used to, it used to be you have 20. Your mom has 20 siblings. No, your grandma has 20 siblings. Your mom has 11 siblings. You have
yes.
2 siblings,
yes.
and then you have and your kids are a cat.
Right,
you have
right. There's many more reasons for this. It's because after the Pinochet regime collapsed, there was mass urbanization in Chile. So now people will say they will see less people, but look how big Santiago has grown.
True.
Look how big it's grown just in 30 years. It's doubled its size. So people don't realize, yes, the cities have more than doubled or tripled. Santiago, especially.
That's also because in South America, people are leaving. It's crazy. People are still leaving their smaller towns to go to cities, like they did 50 years ago before the internet.
Yes, they're going because the cities are developed. And now the thing is they can go because they've got shoes. They couldn't go in 1960 or 70. Many of these villages had no shoes. Yeah, so the thing is, we should be thankful to the New World Order for this. And now many people are going to say, yes, there are many racist people who are saying, what about the white population? It's going down. White genocide, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what about the 500 million plus white people who have left Europe in the last 100 years? Yeah, nobody's talking about the whites who've gone to Chile or the whites who are living. If you've been to Chile, you've seen them in Santiago. The Europeans, they're everywhere. They dominate everything. They're like the upper class.
They are the upper class, but
everyone knows this.
Okay, but like Kirshner, Bachelorette brought in
now it's getting
1
better.
million. Bachelorette brought in 1 million.
Yeah, it was a racist place.
Right. So now
it was a racist
I almost disagree. So here's my pitch on this. Okay, here's my hot take. Argentina was already racist because they like put all their persons of color in the front lines in the early 19th century. Chile had forgotten what racism was because all they had at that point, this has been 20 years after Pinochet. We're talking American television.
Yeah,
they're watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They think Will Smith is cool.
Okay, yes,
and all of a sudden, they've never seen Chileans had never seen a black person before. And all of a sudden, they bring in 1 million people that are not, they don't look like them.
About that. Oh, I'm not talking about
they don't
black
speak
racism.
They don't. No, but like, it's even weirder than that because they don't even speak Spanish. They're Haitian. They speak French. So you have a completely different class of people. And so your only understanding of these people is they don't speak the same language as you, and then they're supposed to do the jobs you don't want to do, right? Because they bring them to all the places in Chile that they're moving away from. Everyone's going into Santiago, and the Mapuche are being replaced. The Flaite, okay, there's the Mapuche or the indigenous. The Flaite are the
I'm talking about the Indians, not black racism. Yeah, but by the way, Andreas, I'm talking about the racism against the Indians. In England, we will call them Indians or Pakistanis or Bangladeshis or Moroccans.
Right, that's true too.
France or Algerians or
there is a growing that I did notice though. There's a growing because there are a lot of people moving to Venezuela are Muslim. So yeah, South America has a lot of Muslims.
No, not those. No, I'm talking about the native Indians. You know what we call the Latinos. The natives look similar to Algerians. They look like Moroccans in Latin America, or they look like Pakistan. Maybe a bit of a different hairdo, or maybe the eyes are slightly different, and things like this. But the thing is, the racism. I'm not talking about the black racism. You're right about the black racism.
There's extreme racism in South America. It's weirder. It's weirder than it is in America. They're more racist.
Yes.
I remember going into a restaurant and a lady would have liked me, but then I had a black friend with me or an indigenous friend.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's make it clear about the white genocide. Yeah, about the white genocide. We're talking just in Latin America. In these places, there's up to 250 million people whose origin is Europe. Now we don't have. We don't have 250 million. There's 500 million, including US, Canada, and Australia, and many other places of white people who've left Europe. Now, all these people who are complaining that there's black people in Europe. Oh my God, I don't like these Africans who are crossing over to Italy. Oh, they're bringing all these blacks to Milan from Congo. They're bringing Ethiopians and Sudanese to Sweden. You know.
I've heard that.
Okay, you know what? I do not see 500 million. I don't see 500 million Indian, Algerians, Bangladeshis, Moroccans in Europe. Do you see 500 million in Europe or America?
Not really.
Immigrants. 500 million.
Admit, I'll consent to. No. I'll concede to the fact that when I've traveled. I'll concede that when I've traveled across Europe, there are places in Europe where there are disproportionately almost 99%. Like if you go through France, there are parts of France which are almost disproportionately 99 to 100% refugee encampments. Yes. And so it's really interesting to me that Europe is big enough that you could displace enough people. It's possible that I just didn't see it. But I'll admit that if you were going by the regular numbers to the major cities, it should be way more people. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So now the thing is, they have these debates at the United Nations, and many other places, even in the 60s, 70s, Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. If somebody's going to say, "Oh, David's sticking up," well, Che Guevara, Fidel Castro, the rest of them, Malcolm X, they spoke out. But even though it doesn't matter if they were global actors or working for the side that was good, but they had a point. There's 500 million, and if somebody's going to say there's entire districts in many cities full of foreigners, yes, what about entire districts, yes, in Argentina, in Buenos Aires that are white European? What about in Uruguay, in Paraguay? Yes, what about in Bolivia? Yes, what about in Florianopolis? Yes, and the thing is, do you know in the 19th century, when the French invaded Moscow, a major reason why Napoleon and the rest of his forces had an advantage is because in the 17th century, they developed this thing called the gun. Yes, they developed it more, mass manufacture. Before that, people had more swords. So when the French marched through Germany, through Prussia, and to get to Moscow, yes, the people were terrified, they ran. Yes, basically because they didn't have the weapons ready. But then after that, after this new weapon, the advance of the French to go south with their fake Russian Romanovs and march south into Ottoman German territory slowed down because the Germans developed this weapon at an even faster rate, and then they blew Paris up in 1870 as a lesson. Yes, they blew it up. Yeah, but then you could say that the Americans blew up Berlin. So we don't want these things. The lesson of Berlin being blown up in Paris, we don't ever want to see these things ever again. Now, if people are going to turn around and say, yeah, there's entire districts. We're talking there's entire mega districts in Rio de Janeiro. I saw with my own eyes these things in Latin America. Mega districts of entire nothing but white, 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 white. I'm not on anybody's side here. Now, if you're going to throw these people out, in Spain, they're complaining against all these Latin American migrants. In England, they think they're complaining against Muslim migrants. No, it's because they've got visa-free travel now from Spain and Portugal with Brazil and with Latin American countries from, the Organization of American States, or I think it's Latin American Economic Union. I forgot. Yeah, it's that one. So now the thing is, they've made these treaties. Now the thing is, what are you going to do? Throw them out? Oh yeah, when they see these Latin Americans, many people seem to think, oh, they're Arabs or Indians or Pakistans. Yeah, they might look similar, but the thing is, yeah, same like the Germans and the English look similar, but they're different. So you know what? Yes, if we're going to talk about white genocide, it's a lie. It's a total lie. Now, you might turn around and say, Australia, yeah, half of Sydney, half of Melbourne. Yes. Okay, I saw it with my own eyes. But the thing is, you know what? Those people, they get educated there and they're the rich ones, that the rest of their families are running these industries or working in the companies whereby we've turned them into slaves. But their benefit is that they could have stayed in the dark ages like the 60s forever. Instead, they could speed up with the game of the currency game, whereby they keep their currency 10 RMB to $1 or something. It used to be 15 RMB to $1, but as they improve, you get less and less RMB per dollar. But the thing is, that's how we've managed to speed things up. Let's send them all back, and let's see how long we last in Europe and America. Let's send them back. Yeah, send all of them back, and then where is the limit? Are we going to send back the Romanians?
Honestly, I feel like that's actually gnarlier than forcing everyone into the military. You're like, you know what? We're going to make all the strawberry pickers go home, and you're going to have to pick your own strawberries. Yep, everybody, we're going to sign up all your names. All the able-bodied men are going to have to pick strawberries.
Let's talk about the fruit.
You know what I mean?
They're not even doing that. The people have become so lazy that there's foreign workers. Oh, when they're saying when refugees seek asylum. Yes, the thing is, many of these so-called alleged refugees, let me explain to you what's going on. So now Germany is using more oil and gas than many other countries in Europe at a ridiculous rate. It's such a joke. Nachiketa's here. Hi, Nachiketa. Yes. So Germany is using it at a ridiculous rate. Yes. So now all of these people who've gone to Germany, and Hungary has started developing so fast. And Hungary is a transit region, and Serbia and Kosovo is a transit region to get to Europe. Now, let me tell you, during the Iran-Iraq war, yeah, people should have a look at the videos and the photographs. It just looks ridiculous. I think I did it in a video with Raphael or with Nachiketa. It looks so scary. We could see thousands of people, it looks, who are just leaving Iraq. And the thing is, it's because the land, if we paid them, because we know that there's oil and gas under there, in other words, sod off, get off, because in Germany, in Holland, we want this oil and gas. It's because our people will use more and more oil and gas compared to 20 years ago. We are now using double the electricity and the gas compared to 20 years ago. In many houses, before they had just had one light bulb in the living room, sat there after work in the factories, and they just went to sleep. Now you've got 2 light bulbs or 3 in the living room. People leave a light bulb on all night or things like this in their children's room. They start everything, in some bathrooms you've got multiple lights even on the floorway, hallway, multiple lightings, this and that. And the thing is, you know what? Yes, we wanted them off that land. Okay, if you want to send them back, go send. You know what I suggest? Yes, in Europe, send them back, and you bloody pay for this oil and gas and for the minerals. Go pay. And then you think you could work in these factories? You're dreaming. Your grandparents couldn't even work in these factories. They hated it so much. They'll tell you about it. It was a disgusting life in the 60s. Go and ask them. Go and ask them. Destroy our beautiful Europe and America. Yeah, we've got a few migrants. Yeah, we don't have 500 million here. Come on, we don't have 500 million immigrants in Europe and America. But right now on their lands, we've got 500 million white Europeans who've gone to live there. Yeah, that was their land, the United States. Yeah, if you're going to tell them go home, why don't you go home? I'm saying this because the thing is, we've got to get on. We've got a beautiful world. Let's make it beautiful. I mean, what's wrong with everybody? I mean, what's wrong? Yeah, what are you going to do when your mobile phone doesn't charge anymore? Yeah, what are all these witches? Just change it to the letter B. Going to do on a Friday night when they can't sit there texting with the electric, no one to talk to on their phone. These single women, who can't be bothered building a family life, or some of these boys, the bad boys, or whatever they call them, thinking on a Friday night, I'm going to go to a bar, I'm going to trap off, or I'll just go to some do. Yeah, I don't like going to the bars, it's expensive, or I'll just go to a house party and things. Yeah, who's paying for the music there? How do the speakers work? Who manufactured them? Nobody is looking at all these things.
Who doesn't disagree? I all agree. We all agree with you. I think Astana is the coolest city on earth, right? It's Burning Man year round.
As much. Yes. So now, Raphael, I've answered you. We're getting 3 times as much. That was the agreement. Yes, there was the injustice, but guess what? It's the first time ever. Yes, the first time ever since 1980, the world has changed. That even with their fake actors, that's why I said it in an interview before. Obama is an actor. Yes, but I liked his speeches. He was a great one. In England, we've had great acting prime ministers. They were great. They've been good for everybody. When I say good, you can go on holiday. We could do whatever we want. Even poor people could afford flights. Cheap flights are, for heaven's sake, $20 these days, $30, $50. It's a joke. You could fly around. Nobody's thinking where these planes come from, how we built the airports, where do all these things come from, everything, the radio signal towers, everything, who's manufacturing them, where the entire global system. Nobody has thought how difficult it was to set up. And yeah, we're bringing them to universities to train them and things like this. And we're actually ripping them off. But right now, the way the world is going, they are benefiting. And it looks like that within 100 years, the world will have no more poverty, no more migration. And even the people that came to Europe will probably go home thinking my homeland is better. And then the thing is, when they do go home, what are they going to remember? Yes, how many white people behaved? Not all of them. It's like it's a minority, but still it's something, 5% or 3%. I mean, why do that? Because what if they switch everything off? Because we're dependent on them. We are not the only people in the world. That's what we've got to realize. And they are dependent on us. It's an interdependent world. Now, some people will say they did globalization on purpose. Yes, because you didn't want to work. You were you were like lazy bums. And it was bad environment. Just look for pictures. Type in 1960, English factories, pollution. Just have a look at the sky. You couldn't even see the sky. It was worse than what is in China now.
We need a new name for goth. That's what we got to call goth. Because, like the goth movement has nothing to do with like Visigothic colors like crimson and periwinkle and like marigold. You know what I mean? Like, this is goth. Goth people, when they're talking about goth, they're talking about British people covered in soot. And that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what they love.
That picture, all the factories are switched off. Maybe this was taken.
They're like, they're like, you know what? They're like, we're gonna take a picture. Everybody, like, let's cool down the sky for a second.
Yeah, because they were lazy. They only worked 9 till 5, and then they still wanted more money. Yeah, I'm not talking about the Rockefellers and the rest of them. They're just the actors.
No, they moved it to China. Though. They moved it to China. Yeah. Actually, I think David Rockefeller's a pretty real guy. Yeah. The fact that he wanted to move stuff to China and have Fabian social chips.
It's right. When we're saying China, it's not China. It's China. It's Indonesia. It's Vietnam. Right. It's Laos. It's Cambodia. It's Sri Lanka.
Out of sight.
It's
out
Myanmar,
of sight, out of mind.
India.
Right. Real people, real places.
Yeah,
right.
and what do we have? Yeah, since the 1980s, life is so beautiful here. I mean, all I could remember is a beautiful life: pubbing, clubbing,
But David,
free
Right.
time, doing what I want.
David,
It's
let me
Except
a
ask
for
you
life's a
let me
dream.
ask you a question, David.
Okay, Raphael, I
except for
answered
the
you.
occasional Chernobyl warning. Okay.
So, David, the thing is, it's all beautiful, and I think
Uh,
we all agree in terms of
let's.
developing.
Yeah, go on.
Wait,
Give me a second,
let
David.
Ralph get his question. That
So,
was rude of me.
I think
Yes.
we all agree about, developing the world, handing out shoes and all of that. Ideally, they would be durable as well, but that's maybe another point with planned obsolescence. But then just tell me one thing, why at the same time, if the goal is developing the world for at least maybe half of the controller faction, let's assume, then why waste money having people in the West, for example, become unnecessarily sick with cancer, all kinds of poisons, bad food, all of that, and then waste millions of money on scanning machines. Everyone here is sick and old, like you said. Now they need help. Of course, there's not even enough people in Europe to take care of all the old people. But I just want to point out, like health-wise, at the very least, why destroy the vitality of the Western population on purpose by making them alcoholic, delivering them all of the bad substances en masse, by poisoning the food over time, poisoning the soil, all of these things, not even having a proper dentist usually. For what?
Okay. Now, if you've read my books, which you have, and you've seen the interviews, I've always condemned the people in power. Now, let me make it clear: I've condemned half the people, not every single one.
Right.
The thing is, I will give you an example now. I'll give you an example. Let's say there's us three. We set up a pharmaceuticals company. Us three, we've set up a medication company. Let's just say it's paracetamol or aspirin. I don't know what you call it in America for headaches. Is it aspirin, paracetamol, things like this? Nurofen? Yes?
Right. Those are
Is
things.
that what it is in America?
Acetaminophen, aspirin are all. These are all things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Aspirin comes from
for
Roebuck.
headaches. Yeah, okay. So now let me tell you now. So us three are managing these have our three different companies. Yes, and you know what? Yes, we are friends. We're like a secret cartel amongst the people in power. So now the thing is, we've all got our brothers. So what we do, our brothers are politicians and things like this. So that's how it works. I'm being realistic here. I was going to go into politics myself. The thing
Right.
is, I probably would. I think when I was younger, I was ambitious. I probably would have made it to a ministerial post, but then I realized it was more of acting, yes, and things like that. And then I thought it's not for me. I was more of a playboy. I like traveling, playing around, things like this, going around nightclubs, bars, drinking,
Why
things
not
like this. So
both?
I was more.
I'll
Oh
promote your
no, it wouldn't be a
candidacy.
scandal.
You look dang good in this suit. Don't you worry, Dave. We'll get you
Yeah,
elected someday.
but yeah. So let me explain the reality. So there's you, us three. So now let's say there's Raphael's brother, Andreas's brother, and my brother, and those three, they're the philanthropists. They're in the government and they're trying to make peace and make the world without diseases. And then there's you, us three. Yes, and do you know what we're thinking? Yes, I invest in a hospital. And then Raphael invests in what do you call it, machinery for scanners. You invest in the medication, Andreas, and all three of us, we just want cash. So so you know what you do? Yes, I'm the one making the medication, and so Raphael says, "My machinery, nobody's going to use the scanners." Yeah, and you say, "David, please, yeah, please, it's me, Raphael. Please, just put something in there, something. Just call it cancer. Yeah, tell your brother to report it as cancer. Your brother's
I
a
want
bit
to have
corrupt in the
people
government,
buying and
and say
getting more
cancer is deadly."
scans. We want to make sure that you're sick so that you have more reasons to get scans. Please, I gotta keep my business going. I know.
No. So the thing is, so believe it or not, yes, there are these, corporations that come and go, and some of them are so powerful. And the thing is, it's like in Ukraine right now. Many people think that Ukraine has invaded Russia. That's what you all think. Yes, yes,
Right? That's
you've
on the
heard
news, right?
that
On the news, yeah.
Ukrainian troops have
Kursk.
crossed into the Russian
Yes. hmm
side.
Something to
Oh
that
yeah.
effect. I
So
wasn't
now
sure if it was troops or
let
if it
me
was just
let me
drones.
tell,
Yeah.
tell you one of the biggest. Yeah, this is just off the top of my head. Yeah. When Joe Biden warned and said, "Hey, the Russians are going to invade Ukraine," they warned the world. world that year on January the 19th. And when the Russians invaded, just before they invaded, their troops were 19 kilometers from the Ukrainian border in the Belgorod region.
Oh
Then they
wow.
had 190,000 troops. Yeah, 1900 multiple of 19. Then
This is
when
gonna
they
make such a
invaded
great. This is
that
gonna be the
year,
best Netflix movie I've ever seen. Right? This is gonna be the coolest Netflix movie.
wait, but there's more. When the Russians took over by March, yeah, after they invaded, they took over in 2023 19% of Ukrainian land. Yes, and then when the Russians advanced on Kiev, they had to retreat after 19th of April, and the furthest their army got to was 19 kilometers from the center of Kiev, apart from a few units. Can you see the scam in the code? So now let me tell you, because there is a war going
Kate,
on. But
Kate
like
Blanchett.
the Ukrainian army that's in Russia, it's not the Ukrainian army. Let me tell you who it is. If anybody sees the region that the area that the Ukrainian army has gone into, they have gone in there to blow up the oil and gas facilities. And did you notice that what do you call it? A large percentage, could be even up to half, of the Russian troops come from what region in Russia? What region would you say? Think.
Chechen. Chechen.
The Chechnya. Yeah, a
Russian
good
troops
call.
where?
Chechnya.
Chechen.
Why would that be?
Because
Do you
Chechens
want-
are freaking based. They're like born
Okay,
soldiers,
I will tell you why
and
that
like
is.
also because socioeconomic reasons.
No, no. And the thing is that that's what anybody would assume. And there's one reason why they're fanatical. Yes, because of Islam. It's like many people would say they're Muslims. But the other reason is this: many people don't realize that Russia's oil and gas that they supply to Europe comes from the Muslim regions. Yes, throw out the in Germany they say there's a huge Chechen population, and in France, yeah, they say, oh, they're Muslims, but you don't know it because they're white like the Germanic people, but they don't want them there. Okay, send them back, and then there's Chechnya's oil and gas. So the reason why they're there is they're protecting it. And the thing is, basically, Ramzan Kadyrov, yes, the thing is, Putin didn't win the war in Chechnya. Nobody knows this. That the Muslims have immense power in Russia. The thing is, it's because of the oil and gas. And the thing is, they will
both
leave
literally
Russia.
and
Oh, those maps aren't accurate. Yeah, they're going to show that the Muslims are in small regions because that's what they show. Because there's racism in Russia against Russian Muslims, but there's millions of Russians who are Muslim, and
Yeah,
many
but
of them came from
there's something
Western
to be
Europe.
said for
Okay,
like,
so-
okay, imagine you're in Russia and you've got a bunch of alcoholism, like just like the United States, and there are people that don't drink alcohol, right? And they're Muslim, but they end up having big
Yes.
families, and they're taking care of their business, and they're making sure that their families are taken care of. In a socialist country,
They're
you're
looking
working for
after
the
the
government.
old people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
There's a
yeah,
lot
so
of
we
there's a
save
lot of
money.
Muslims that are
So
working.
if I am
Yeah.
So now let me give the answer. If I am the elite, do you think I will support Christianity, whereby people don't look after the elderly in general in Western societies? I'm not talking about in Armenia. Yes, I'm talking about in the more modern countries. Or would I support Islam, whereby I'm going to save cash, I'm going to save money? So yes, if I can bring Islam into France, Germany, America, and Canada, people are going to be more nice to their parents. It's more loving. It's a more beautiful civilization. They're going to live with their parents. They're going to actually be fathers. In general, the Muslims stick to marriages compared to anybody else around the world and things like this. But I'm saving billions of dollars. What would you do? I'm telling you now that me as an elite and Raphael and you, we've got to decide right now that we're going to lose cash. And these poor peasants on the street, they're riding, they're drinking, they're throwing bricks at the police. And the thing is, we could just convert them all to Islam. Which policy would you take?
I'd show you the Book of Mormon.
Now, then you will understand what. Then I don't want you to hide it, or otherwise people won't understand the New World Order. Because they're asking, why is there this Muslim immigration? If you don't want it, then look after your parents. Go and look after them, live with them.
That's an interesting point.
Many of your parents don't want to live on their own.
who and what elite first indoctrinated them into modern Christianity, where one of the results, or whatever, debased atheism or whatever, is that people don't take
Like
care
I told you,
anymore. There
there's
was
two
an
sides.
elite for that.
Yeah, many
Yeah, I
people.
just want you to point that
Many
out
people
again.
don't know
Yes.
this. Great, great. Okay. Now, many people don't know. Let's say the Methodist Church, Baptist Church, and all these other evangelical churches. Yes, just 100 years ago, many of them registered as businesses in stocks and bonds in London and Paris, and then they started preaching Christianity in the United States, and now they've got mega churches. They're businesses, guys, by the way. Yes, and now they're registered as charities and other things, but it's a business. So you said who did it? It was businessmen. So in the New World Order, it's divided between the corrupt people who are out to make money. Same like there's corrupt Islamists who are out to make money. We know this. Yeah, so we've got to keep Islamism out of Europe and America. We can't let it come. And there's Quranism. Many of these people are preaching the Quran or something. Quranism, they call it. Yeah, they've got their YouTube channels, PayPals. They're out to make money. Don't fall for it. If you want a God or a religion, you go and study. It's yours. If you like Christianity, you stick to it. If you like Islam, you stick to it. It's like it's
So
dangerous. This Islamism.
why does
And
Hinduism get away? Why does Hinduism get away with this? So what I wonder is like
Hinduism.
if you
Let
think
me
about
let me say.
Hinduism is this
Let,
ambiguous thing, right? And Hinduism could be yoga,
why,
not even a
why, no,
religion. It could be
why?
just
I
like
will explain to you why. I have when I've spoken about social issues or anything with Hindus, only once in my entire lifetime in front of my face did an Indian person behave slightly aggressively. That was only once. But the thing is, or generally in Europe and America, for us, I'm not talking about in India, where it's known that there's mobs of Hindu nationalists who are violent, and many have been condemned for the murders. Thousands are dying every year in India. Christians are dying, Muslims and atheists are dying. I'm saying in the West where we are, because our audience is the West, Australia, US, Canada, and maybe a few people outside. In our side of the world, I have not seen Hindus and Buddhists. Even, shall I be honest with you, many of the Jehovah's Witnesses, I've seen them very nice people. Going to
yeah,
lie. Yeah, Mormons, very, 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 very nice. Now, when it comes to
conspicuously
the
chill. Yeah.
evangelists, not evangelical ordinary people, yeah, not evangelical ordinary people, evangelists, not ordinary Islam people, but Islamists, Quranists, evangelists, and Biblists. All these people, they're insane. It's like they're going to say, "This is the word of God. You got to follow it. You're doomed. That's it. You're going to hell." Sorry, I'm not having that. Then they get aggressive. They're like they make videos online saying, "Hey, Christians are going to hell. Jews are going to hell." So now another thing, like we said, because Henry Kissinger was a major person in the New World Order. So many people are talking about Israel and saying, hey, what about what's going on over there? Yes, the thing is, look around on your own streets in Germany. Look around in England. Look around in New York. Look around in Chicago. Yes, many of the buildings in Gaza are empty. And the thing is, it's because many of the Palestinians left in the last 15, 20 years. And so the thing is, yeah, they're bombing empty buildings because they were built with some of the worst construction standards, unfortunately. Yes. So the thing is, with bad construction materials, yeah, so the death rate is actually a lot lower. Yes, and the other, so many of them migrated to Europe and America. I mean, the thing is, they don't want to even stay there. And then we'll have to talk about this separately. But the thing is, many people are turning around saying, free Palestine or something, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Okay, let's say the European Israelis go and look at Jordan's water supply. Go and look at how Jordan gets refined oil, refined gas. Go and look at where Jordan gets its refrigerators from. Jordan, there's 15 million people, including the servants. That country doesn't manufacture anything. It's like a country that's got nothing, that the people are just going to die tomorrow. It'll be so poor. Yes, and go and check the history of the Hashemites when they were begging the Zionists and the Europeans to come, and the amount of land that they sold even in the West Bank, because this land in the West Bank, Yes, you can't even develop it. Yes, and the thing is, you need to bring the water from all
Well,
the
you can
through
use the West
huge
Bank. I mean, the
plants.
West Bank does have a lot of minerals, so like what you could do is like tear it apart, destroy it, so that
What
no one could ever live
minerals?
there again, and
Wait,
then
the cost it's going to take to bring out the minerals, yeah, it's not worth even
well,
taking these minerals.
the only other place, fair enough, but the only other place besides the Gaza Strip that have that kind of material necessary for making semiconductors is
Because this is a
Silicon
sensitive
Valley,
topic.
California, and so people love to not destroy Silicon Valley, California. Like, which are you going to destroy? Is your choice, and then also there's
Okay,
certain parts of
okay.
Congo.
Now the thing is, because this is a deeper topic, it would probably need 2 hours minimum. So I'm going to make it simple. Yeah, people should check Jordan's water supply, even though they'll say it will come from the River Jordan, but a lot of it is on the Mediterranean coast. Israel has these machines made in Europe and America because the Jewish people have got their contacts. Yes, in Europe and America, other Jewish people who have financed these things so that they can pay for the water, clean water, all the cars, everything in Jordan. They wouldn't have anything. They don't even have an economy. There is no reason for Jordan to exist. I mean, the place would be like South Sudan tomorrow. I'm being
I only
serious.
heard
It's
it's
not.
very
And
beautiful though at the same time, strangely enough. Or maybe because of that. It is a very nice place, I heard, just from my brother who was there.
Plus, they have Fatburger, which is pretty amazing.
Jordan.
Jordan's where Fatburger comes from,
Oh,
actually.
Jordan, have a look at the photographs. It's because today we're not doing a historical video. Today this is an interview about the New World Order. I'm being
Yeah. But just
realistic.
shout
If you
out to
look
the
at the
royal family
photographs,
of Jordan. Shout out to their fast food line. There's something pretty cool about Fatburger. If you
yes,
eat
and
like
the
a
thing is, they
a
welcomed the
kilogram
Zionists. They were
burger,
begging for them to come.
the family of Jordan will take your photo.
Yes,
So
people
that's
can
pretty
check this
cool.
history out.
Yeah, from Jordan. That's pretty
Yeah, but the
sweet.
thing
There's
is,
something about
look
that.
at the cities. Yeah, in Jordan, there was basically nothing there 100 years ago, 1920s, 30s, and the people were many of the people
Yeah,
were half
absolutely.
naked. The other
The
people
Herbert Walker
came from
Bush again.
Eastern Europe and Russia.
We talked about the Herbert Walker Bush had built up the House of Hashim. The House of Hashim was basically, a really good trader family, and I don't mean to be any disrespect to the House of Hashim. I think they're actually really cool people, but they've now become uber
They're
elite
cool people now. They're cool people now, but not that
because of the
cool.
Bush family.
Not that
Yeah,
cool. Not,
right. But
but they're not that
we
cool
needed a
because
Christian we needed a Christian trading partner that we could do gun sales internationally in between the United States corporations and Axis powers. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
yeah.
That's what
Okay,
Jordan's for.
there is
That's what
more than
Jordan's
this,
for.
right? The Hashemites, their grandfather's family was in Saudi Arabia and Mecca. Now, when you look at the pictures
I think they're
of
cool
their
as hell though.
grandfather,
I love
yes,
the Queen Jordan,
from
She's
Mecca,
great.
yeah, this is because they've intermarried with other people, but their
Yeah, they're
great
great people.
ancestry actually came from India.
That's
Their
true.
ancestry
That's
came
true.
from India.
They're from North India. They're from
Yes,
North India. That's a fact.
but the thing is, what have they done? They've kept this conflict going in this place called Temple Mount. And the thing is,
I wouldn't
and
blame
there
Jordan.
was
I
two.
wouldn't blame Jordan. I would blame the
No, no, no.
CIA still.
And
Do you think that it's the
the thing is,
CIA's fault or
they've
Jordan's
got a
fault?
lot.
If you had to choose, would you
No,
choose
no, no.
Jordan or would you say
There are
that
a
they're
lot
just
to do with it.
that's like blaming Alfred
It's
for
not the CIA.
Batman,
Like I said,
you know?
see, I told you, not everybody in the New World Order is good. Not everybody in the New World Order is good. It's like if you go to Israel, the majority of the people are working 9 till 5, 5 days a week. They work hard. They have to pay rent, bills, costs. If you go to Jordan, you practically get half the things. Everything's free. Yes, and the things it's being provided for by the Zionists. Let's wipe Israel off the map. Tomorrow, 15 million people in Jordan will not be able to support themselves. Within 20 years, they've got nothing. Go and check. They don't manufacture anything. There's
Except for
nothing there.
Fatburger.
Even the buildings that they built,
Fatburger's
even
really
the
big in LA. Jordan could make it. No, I get your point. They're basically all they are at this point is a franchise
all the cement, all the buildings,
country
all
created by the
roads.
CIA, the same as the Philippines during the mock battle of Manila. That's a
It's
fact.
not just the CIA. There's a lot of Islamic politics now about the Temple Mount.
It's true.
It's like
That's true.
the crime that they've done. They've got. Last time we spoke about the Jewish people who are praying at the wall where there was sewage pipes there, but the Muslims are praying there on the top of these sewage pipelines. The Muslims are doing it, and these people are laughing. It's a joke. And then they might even turn it into a conflict zone. And they've created so much hatred there. And these people, some of these elites are benefiting from it. But it's not the Jordanian royal family that benefits from it. It's 15 million people inside Jordan who would be poor, who have no economy whatsoever. And they're benefiting from it at the expense of, what do you call it, 1 million people in the West Bank. And Palestinians, you see, and at the expense of people debating and fighting about this holy site in the Middle East. I mean, for God's sake, they can make an agreement tomorrow. Yeah, I don't like animal sacrifices personally. That's why I don't want a new temple there. But the thing is, a new temple can be built there. Yeah, I mean, they could share and divide the place. Some people will say, no way if I'm an Islamist or something. But the thing is, it just can't keep going. These conflicts can't get, we're just because of people's religions, we are not going to have a world war. Send your own brothers and sisters and you go and die yourself. But sorry, I'm not sending my people or my neighbors to go and die for some building over there. I mean, the thing is, they can make some type of agreement, and there is no evidence that this place was holy or anything like that. It might have been special a few centuries ago, but not the way that they've idolized it, the Zionists and the evangelists. Not the good Zionists, the bad ones, and the Islamists. They've done this on purpose. This is in my book. What do you call it? Jerusalem is in Europe. I know I normally don't speak like this in a political way, but today I'm doing it because the thing is, I saw these riots in England, and the thing is, yes, many people don't realize what they're going to destroy if the current world order is destroyed. So the answer is yes, Raphael. Finally, the answer is, don't destroy the world order, improve it, work on it. If you've got a problem with immigration, yes, then do you know what to do? Get off your ass and go to work. Go and work in the farms. Why are we they're bringing Pakistanis to Holland, to Denmark to work in the farms in summer because the Dutch and the Danish won't work there. They're bringing Indians and Bangladeshis to work in
they bring
China.
people from all over Europe to
Huh?
Austria to work in the farms. There is no Austrians working in the farms either.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you got at least 30,000 Austrian
you know
kids in
what?
college right now. They're
Any
in the
of you
WOOF program to go work in a farm. I bet you that there
Any
are.
of you
They're
people
probably in
who
other
are
countries.
against
Well, yeah,
the new world
in South
order,
America, yes.
there's many people who are age 50, 55.
Every single country.
who
You
can't
know
go
what
to
WOOF
work.
is? Do you know what WOOF is? Like it's like
Yeah.
triple OF. It's like it's a farming program. There's a thing called Worldwide Organization of Organic Farms. Here's a little Rotary Club for hippie ecologists, right? So I've been to about 30 of these. Not a single
Yes.
one of these have I been to
Okay.
that weren't Austrians farming. Just so you know, you're everywhere.
Okay,
But like in Austria
okay,
itself.
so now the thing is, yeah. Oh, okay. So now they've had to make a website for this. Let's just go to Pakistan or to Morocco or to Turkey. You don't need an organic farms. They're already organic. Half of them, because the people have not
they
become
can't even afford
selfish and
the
lazy
freaking
like we've become in
chemicals. Yeah, right.
Europe. We're greedy. Yeah.
It's also
Okay,
crazy.
so if
It's
you're
also
complaining
crazy
about
to
the
give. It's also crazy to give your chemicals.
you
Like
know
I mean,
what?
you have to
You know
remember
what
that
I'm gonna say
Monsanto
to
was
these
creating.
people?
Monsanto was creating genetically modified super
Then
soldier
I have an
steroids,
answer.
and those
I have an
steroids were
answer for
ending
you.
up killing
I've
people,
got
and they
an
found out
answer.
those could
I
kill
have an
plants.
answer for
Right?
you. I have an answer for you, Andreas. I have an answer for you. You're anybody who supports that view that you said. Maybe you're just saying it, but you don't support it. You know what? Tell them. Go to a farm. Start working. Tell your sons, brothers, and sisters. Start telling everyone, go work in a farm. Tell them to ride
100%.
horses or
I think
donkeys.
that instead of wasting your
They're
time
not
at
going to
college,
do
like
it.
I'm not Peter
They're
Thiel, but
not
like if
going
you went
to
to a
do it.
woofing program, that'd be better. I
They're
agree.
not going to do it. So if they're not going to do it, shut up and accept these migrants because they're doing your work. They're working for you like dogs and animals. Yeah, throw them out. Yeah, in Belfast and Northern Ireland. Yeah, since the 70s. Now they don't want to do farming and they're complaining. These Albanians are coming, or Pakistanis, or Algerians are coming. Okay, throw them out and you work in the farms. Stop drinking. Stop turning around and say, hey, I'm a
hard take, but my
with them
take
on
too.
Friday
I've been
night.
saying it for years.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for years. I agree with you. I think it's crazy that people are like, we got to throw out the people
No,
that give the.
don't
I don't
say,
eat strawberries
don't
because of
say
how
it.
much it
You
upsets
got to
me. You
shout
don't
them.
understand.
You got to shout at them. You know why I'm shouting? You got to shout at them because they're not going to do it. And guess what? You know, these viewers who are sat there, if any of them are younger, they're going to think, no, I want an office job, a high salary. I want these holidays. I want my cars. If I'm a girl, I want my handbags. Oh, I want my shoes. I want my jackets. I want my holidays. Oh, I want the Christmas trees. Did they ever, think with their
I'm sorry,
ass
David.
where these Christmas trees came from? Who
David,
made them? How did they manufacture them?
Are you
Yes, go
seriously
on,
not
Raphael.
running for office? Because I'm gonna vote for you no matter what. Like,
yes,
we're gonna like
totally, David.
nominate.
But just briefly, because it's
If
one
I
story
run for
that
office,
just briefly, David, because the
yeah.
point you're making is a great point and is correct enough, and I agree with you mostly. However, I know, for example, from Austria, that through the policies of the European Union, for example, they deliberately also made it hard for small farmers to even sustain themselves properly. And also, we have the whole issue with how to
Okay,
farm.
there is a reason
And
for this.
and
Wait, there is
just
a
one more
reason for
sentence,
this.
one more sentence,
Okay, I
David,
know.
David,
Yes,
Give him
one
a
more
shot.
sentence. Yes. And also the types of farming,
yeah.
because there is farming that is very labor intensive and that is apparently pushed. You need heavy machinery and all of that. But there is also permaculture farming and other things where you would need actually a lot less labor to do the same
Okay,
thing. But these things are not
okay,
promoted at all.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now you've said there's two types of farming. So now let me tell you, when you're on the road, there's basically two types of transport. You could say the bus or the car. So now the thing is, they both do different things and they use different types of machines and they're different in sizes. But do you know what? They're producing different things but similar things. And you know what? You can't have it both ways. You can't cheat. Yeah, we're talking about the migrants. So now the thing is, when you bring in one regulation for one farmer, and then you've got these human rights activists, blah blah blah. We're going to protest anyway, yeah, and stand for one thing or whatever. So you know what? You just make it equal farming, even though you are going to say there's all this thing, and they could have modified this, they could have done that, but you can't. It's because then if you bring in one product, then let's say you're going to bring in tomatoes from Morocco. They are into Spain and France right now. So now Morocco is going to turn around and say, excuse me, mister, I'm from the Middle East. You want my tomatoes? I don't give them you. You must buy my potatoes also. You don't want to buy the potatoes? We make too many, and my people don't like the potatoes. So you don't buy potatoes? Sorry, no tomatoes. And then you think, damn, I got to shut down the potato farms in Portugal now. Do you see what's going on? So it's like the people in power, they're playing games, but it started off from the public. It's you, it's you, it's you. It's you and me. It's like, I know, like I said, I just gave €100 to two families. I didn't want to, but I turned around and thought they've got nobody else to depend on. No one else is going to do it. And then if I don't give them money, yeah, they're going to turn around and think, hey, I'm going to be a migrant. I'm in Africa. Let's come over to Europe. Why not? Yes. So the thing is, and then we've got all this extra cash, and nobody could turn around and say, oh, David's got extra cash. As you could see the way I speak, yes, I said I was going to stand
I don't get
for
Americans
politics,
in
and many
general
people,
though. Like, I never will understand, because the point that like you're the descendant of a refugee that came over because they were super based and they could like be like, yeah, I can go anywhere and do anything and look for gold or whatever I hear about, and then you're like, yeah, but nobody else. Just my grandpa.
okay,
Like, at that point, I'm just like, shut
okay.
up. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I can do. I'm like, okay.
Yes, yeah. So the thing is now. So now let me say. So your grandpa came. So now these refugees, if they do come, what's wrong with them coming? Yes, your grandpa came. Who's got? Can the native Indians in America? I mean, it would be wrong to turn around and say, "Go." Yes, there was injustices in the past and injustice today. So it's not just the state. We have to actually help and make things better. When we're out there, we have to make sure we're not racist, that we try to be politically nice and correct. It's like somebody from Macedonia speaks to me recently, and he's turning around and telling me, oh, the Albanians do this, they do that, they're Muslims, they do this and that. I'm polite to him, and because of the history that that they've been told, oh, the Muslims did this and that, so then I'm very nice to him. Sometimes I go along with what he says. No, so the thing is, we're intelligent people. We have to build a better world. And the thing is, in the future, yeah, and the thing is, all these borders that we have that are artificial, hopefully they're going to go. We made these borders so that we could build the economies and then make them better. And the thing is, it's like England left the European Union. I was so heartbroken. I didn't want that to happen. England did not join the euro in the end. I didn't want it, because when you change currency, when you travel, you're losing 1 or 2 or 3%. I mean, so the businessmen at the top are making money. Yes, they're doing it. They're going to say, hey, let's leave the European Union. And they promoted it because they thought, no, we're still making, billions of dollars from all these people who are going to Ibiza, Tenerife from Europe. And the thing is, they're loving it. They're loving it. So they would promoted it. Yeah, if France leaves the European Union, yeah, that would be a disaster in Europe. And they know this. But the thing is, there's money to be made. Some people will think, hey, we'll have
but
the
it
new
creates
French currency,
it creates racism. Like you look at places that aren't that racist, like Sweden.
Yeah,
Sweden used to be not a
you
very
use
racist place. I
racism
know there are
fully.
people by the way in the chat that are like, don't interrupt them. But I'm like, I know, I got to say this. There are people in Sweden that have been not very racist traditionally, and they've allowed in all sorts of different people from all over the world. And it's gotten to the point where people in Sweden are even becoming, this is our culture. We're worried that our culture is going to be erased. And also, worse than that, wait. The second tenet's actually worse. That there are people that said, hey, let's let them in to do the jobs that we don't want to do, which is created in a lot of countries. They've created a culture that does the jobs that they don't want to do. And so all of a sudden you have a racist culture.
Mr. Sweden, I have a message for you, my dear. Mr. Sweden, you know what I would like to say to you? Look around you. 25 years ago, before these migrants came, you only used 1 light bulb or 2. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you were using candles. You were freezing to death. You know what? Send these third world migrants you are calling ugly, poor, evil rapists, or whatever you want to call them, backwards. They're smelly, they're dirty, they brought their culture, they're invading. Send them all back. You use your 1 light bulb, send their oil back, send their gas back, and pay for all the oil and gas that you took, paying at only $100 a barrel when it cost a lot more, because they threw these people off the land. They threw them off. They threw them off, even the Somalians that have come. It's because, check this out, in Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and all that, there's 1 million white Europeans who are living there. You got to feed them now, don't you, Mr. Sweden? There's people from your country there.
Because the whole point is that they're feeding
Mr.
us,
Sweden,
right?
Mr. Sweden, I would like to put it like this.
If Somalis are farming for us,
No,
then
it's
they're
not the
feeding
farming.
us.
Let me explain.
They feed
So now
themselves too.
where the oil is there at the desert, in Somalia and Ethiopia, Mr. Sweden, yes, your bankers have funded Indian workers to go in when they were more experienced. After they caused a war so that Somalians blew the hell out of each other, killing, murders and rapes, you provided guns from your factories for all the deaths. Bring some of these people back to life. Anyway, forget it. Send them all back. And you know what? Yes, you know what? All these human rights activists, they will be happy to help you. And you know what? Yes, sit there in the cold, go back and dig those houses in the 19th century under the hills and burn your wood and breathe in the smoke and start digging in the mountains for the coal. You can keep your culture to yourself. In fact, I support you. Come on, do it.
Yeah,
and
the
you know
Mennonites
what?
and the Amish.
Yeah.
Right, I've been thinking about this
You
too.
know what
The
you should
Mennonites and the
speak for?
Amish.
Yes,
We
you
all
built
support the
oil
Amish.
pipelines.
I've yet to hear a
Mr.
culture be
Sweden,
against the Amish.
the gas
Yeah, sure.
pipelines that you built through their land that went through hundreds of kilometers to transport Mr. Sweden, Mr. Norway, Mr. Finland, yes, Mr. Nice Guy, that you've had enough. You've not brought 500 million people. Yes, like these people have taken 500 million of the European people into their lands. Bring these 500 million back. It's a lie about the white genocide. Nobody's counting how many white people have gone to Canada or how many white people have gone to Australia or New Zealand, somebody else's land. You've already killed them. You can't even bring one person back to life. And then now you still want all these computers. Oh, my phone's charging, darling. Ah, yes, let me send him a message on Friday night. Oh, yes, darling. Oh, yeah. Or if it's amongst the boys. Ah, yeah, she's up for it tonight. Oh, that's cool. Let's send her a message. Oh, my battery's dying. Oh, fuck's sake, her battery's dying. Oh, yeah. Oh, let's buy it.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that we should have? I mean, like, because you're saying basically that we need these people because
What we
Swedish
should,
people want to be
what
pretentious,
we've done,
English people want to be pretentious. They want to
it's not
have
just
a
Swedish,
working class people. Let's have
it's all
Pakistani people be their working class people. Isn't that messed up? Shouldn't we
it's not
make
just
Swedish
Pakistani,
people pick
the
strawberries? Is
Somalians
that
there.
not their
In
karma? Is
Scandinavia,
that not their
in
dharma?
Scandinavia, yeah, yeah. In Scandinavia, I noticed there's a huge, what do you call it, Somalian population and Turkish population.
Yeah, we
That's one
get
of
things
a
done,
huge one.
right?
If you go to
This
Denmark,
reminds me, and a better
yeah,
example would be
it's
like in
not just
Chinese people in Spain, because in Chinese people in Spain will have siesta. Spanish people have siestas and don't work on Sundays. Chinese people will fill in the time. Somalis are doing this in Sweden as well, right? So in general, we're having
so
people
now
fill
the
in the.
thing is, in Europe they can do this. If people want it, if people support me, you know what? Yes, what they could do is add me on Facebook, and they can donate millions. I will stand for send them home. I will create a
Fair enough.
political party in Europe
Fair
like
enough.
that.
Yeah,
I
let's
will
let's
do
make
it.
everybody in Europe
I'm a good
Amish. Let's
politician,
take away
and I
their
will
cell
do it.
phones.
I will send them all
Let's
home.
divide the
But you
cappuccino
know,
economy so that
you
nobody
know
has
what?
access to anything that doesn't come from their own
No.
hometown. Let's make them
You
only
know what
eat
they've
things in
got
their
to
own
do?
hometown until they starve, right? Let's make everybody
No,
separated and
what they've
isolated.
got to
Let's make
do,
everybody
they've got
speak
to
their own
promise me.
language. Let's make everyone come up with a new word for love and for lack of love.
Wait,
Let's make
wait,
everyone
wait.
isolated
I
from
will
each other. Let's
set
have
up
a
this
new Cold
political party.
War. A new Cold
Send
War will be
them
great.
home. Send them home. Send them home.
Everyone, let's have
Send them. I will
let's
set up
destroy
a
the
party.
Tower of Babylon and make everyone suffer.
Wait,
That's the only way, right? Let's why
you,
should we have
you
any
want
communication
you
or
want
anyone who
Stalin? You
understands
want
each other
Stalin?
or
You
anyone who's
want a
empathetic?
Stalin? You want a Hitler? You want a Saddam Hussein? Put me in power. I will send them home. I'm telling you all now. Put me in power, and I shall do it. And you know what? I'm telling you now. Yes, put me in power. Send me the messages. Give me the millions. Donate, and I will set up the party Europe-wide. I'll send them home. But you, when I bring in the new laws to preserve the culture, no
It's a beautiful
electricity.
future.
We don't have oil.
No, yeah,
We
none.
don't
No,
have gas.
we're clear.
We
Are we
don't.
clear?
There is no gas under Germany.
We're all
There
clear,
is no
right?
gas in
We're done.
Scotland.
We're done. You're
There's
done.
only a
All of us
little.
are. You're
There's
done.
only a
That's
little
it.
oil and gas.
That's it. Yeah, I think
What?
we're clear.
No, I'm getting
It's it.
voted.
That's the end
People
of it.
can vote for me.
And
Make
also,
it
you have to
law.
come up. And more than that, you have to come up with your own words. Every single one of
Wait,
you. You have to come
we
up
don't
with.
have
We're going to
enough
take away your
horses.
dictionaries. We're going to take away everything
Wait.
you have.
Let's
be clear.
The people are going to be dumb again, and then after I've died and I've gone, don't worry. You and Raphael can be the dictators and take over. You see, you can abuse people. They don't even know what anything means. There's no electricity. The roads are all damaged. All the skyscrapers fall. The apartments fall.
But
People
I'll be
will
honest.
go
I'm going to keep some books. I'll be honest.
Don't worry, the people will be half naked again. They're going to have to do their own sewing, knitting, weaving, everything, and they won't have enough clothes. They won't have showers anymore. It's too cold. 6 months, they've got to wait through winter, things like this. They won't have any of these things anymore. Yeah? So the thing is, good luck. Vote me in. You know what? Put your money where your mouth is, you people. Yeah, instead of attacking police officers in Europe, I mean, how dare you? Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, how dare you? And then the thing is, they won't climb up the trees to bring the apples down. They won't do it. And then so when I know in Holland, I know a company. Yes, one of my friends is a partner in it, and they've got foreign workers coming from India, Pakistan, Nepal. And you know what? So many times they've tried so hard in Holland to get Dutch people working. So do you know what they do? They offer people from the third world and say, work for us for 5 years. And it's basically a 12-hour shift. Yeah, but they're working 8 hours, but the other times it's like it's a terrible lifestyle. And the thing is, they can't go home. It's like they're far away from the cities.
Oh yeah,
there's no
most of
communication.
the Dutch people we know are completely insane. I'm not talking about 13th Monkey, but legally speaking,
let them carry on. Let them carry on with their Dutch right wing. You know what? Vote me in. Mr. Wilders was not enough. Vote me in. I'll show you. I'll show you what is National Socialism. National Socialism, vote me in. I shall achieve the results. Who is Mr. Wilders?
You're going to be so happy going
Vote
13
me
miles
in.
an hour in your freaking cart.
By the way, I'm being serious to you. I was actually going to become a politician, and my family was wealthy, and I would have made it probably into the cabinet in the British government. But I didn't go for it because, I was too much of a chiller. I loved traveling and all these other things. I thought I don't want to be tied down whereby you have to follow rules and things like this, not get into scandals. I thought I like these scandals. I'm with this girl today, another one tomorrow. I'm four-timing this girl and that. Oh, that's my personal life, by the way. I'm not looking for followers. But if anybody wants to know the New World Order scams, it's in my books, the Tartaria series. But the thing is, this is about the New World Order and about the immigration. I ask people to calm down. It's a lie about the white genocide. It's a lie about the low birth rates. Maybe it's low in Northern Europe and in some parts of the United States and Canada. But go to Latin America and Australia, outside Sydney and Melbourne. Go to Perth, Adelaide. The birth rates are not so low there, or in many of the villages. And the thing is, just go to Brisbane. Go and see how the people are on a Friday night, and you'll turn around and think, these people don't want to work. They want to do nice office jobs, university things. They want to travel. They want foreign jobs with a good company. They want a high salary. Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to make their shoes. They don't want to even make. People
So
don't
we
know how
have
to manufacture a
like
shoe.
what's the future of that? Like at a certain point,
What's
you
the
have to
future?
have
The future is right
automated
now.
Marxism. Automated Marxism is where
No,
you
no,
have
no, no.
all of
We
these
don't need
systems
that.
that have been built by
No,
the Trilateral Commission for the
what we
purpose of
need is a
having
rules.
machines that will make these
No,
computer
no, no,
chips for
no,
you, right?
no,
You
no.
can't always
About
have
me, I
Chinese slaves.
support.
You can't always have African slaves. You can't have China exporting to Vietnam forever,
Yeah,
right?
we
Can't
won't
there?
always have slaves. So now the thing is, Raphael sent me a message about the depopulation. It's not about depopulation. The world's population is going to reach what we call economies of scale in population.
Absolutely.
It's starting
They are
to go
killing
down.
off individualists. That's all there is to it. The individualists are dying off, and
No,
then
no, no,
the
no,
hive
no,
mind
no, no. The
insectoid
medication.
populations are going to mass
No.
populate. That's what Cynthia Sue
Okay,
Larson
there
talked
are
about
the
years ago.
rogue elements who are doing this. Like I said, it's you and me and Raphael. When we all know our aspirin or paracetamol and medication companies, we got to make money, mister. It's like if I'm not a politician, you know what? Invest with me. You know what? So if people don't want me to be a politician, you know what I will say? I'm a very good director. I've been vice CEO of corporations before. Fund me and finance me, and don't worry, I will set up a medication company. It's not. It's the purpose of it is to make profit. It's not about healing people. Yes, there is rogue people. I agree, there is bad people, but not everybody is bad in the New World Order. And we don't have a fixed New World Order. What we do have is a multipolar world right now. And the thing is, we're trying to get the rules-based international order better. The rules-based system. That's why Croatia, the police has got better. Now that's what we want in the rest of the world. We want the world to
Then
get
just tell me,
better.
David,
And
why does it appear,
yes,
and you would agree with this, that within the last few years, at least in the lockdowns, one side has been given free rein and running wild, and there was, I mean, there was a
about the
great movement.
lockdowns, let me tell the reality to you. Mr. Europe, Monsieur Raphael, Monsieur Europe, vous êtes European. You are European, mister. And you Europeans, you like to speak, but no action. Okay, let me tell you the reality. Now, let me tell you about COVID, monsieur. Yes, sir. Now, let me tell you about COVID. So now we've got China and India. We moved our factories over there. So now the thing is, of course, there are rogue elements like me and Andreas. We like making money. We don't care about Europe so much. We're making our billions, me and
This is a
Andreas, right now.
hypothetical.
So you know what? You, Mr.
In
Europe,
Minecraft.
you come out with an idea called, hey, a lockdown. Let me explain the lockdown to you. China had a lockdown for 3 years. Europe had it for about 1.5 years. The Muslim countries, they basically didn't have a lockdown at all. People didn't even care. For some reason,
Yeah,
this Quran has a
Muslims
different
were
effect.
chill. I
Many
think
of
it's
the
because they were
people,
like, wait, you want us to wear masks?
they
They're
didn't
like,
care.
okay,
Yeah.
we're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, don't
They
touch
didn't
anybody
wear it.
6
They
feet
didn't
away.
care.
We're good. We're good. We're
If
fine.
you went,
We're
if you
just
went,
gonna not touch anybody for 6 feet and wear masks.
yes.
This is great.
The thing is, but anyway, let me tell you the reality of the lockdowns. The reality of the lockdowns. Now, imagine if I've got my factory and let's say I'm just making Duracell batteries, yeah, or if I'm making remote controls for your television or your whatever, yes. So I'm just making the light switch that you press when you enter your damn house. Yeah, and you won't even have that switch in your house if it wasn't for me, Mr. India and Mr. China. I represent me and Andreas, we're Mr. India and Mr. China, and we are supplying this to you, Mr. Europe. So now the thing is, we manufactured extra in the last 20 years. So what we've got is an excess supply, 5-year excess supply, because we're manufacturing too much now. So when the world shuts down, so what happens is, yes, what happens is during the COVID, frenzy, yeah, it was the people, yes, and the businesses. It was me and Andreas who promoted scarcity. Hey, products are going to run out, everything, because we want to sell everything very fast. What
Limited
we couldn't
time
sell.
only in theaters, only on
Everybody get
video,
your toilet
only for
paper
the 2
because you
months.
never heard of a bidet.
Mattress sale, going
We
out of
sold
business,
the excess
6 years.
produce. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything that we manufactured extra, we sold.
Everything
What we
must go,
couldn't sell
David.
in-
Everything must
Yeah,
go.
we sold it in 2 years in Europe. What we couldn't sell for 20 years, the excess supply. So that was
Oh my
another
God.
thing during
This was
COVID.
the most
I
popular,
mean, that's
limited time,
wonderful.
no
but then
longer
even here,
available in America, now only
why is it
available in
necessary?
Poland.
Why is it necessary to lie to everyone about it? Because I'm sure everyone in Europe would have said, "Great, 6 months holiday for everyone. Let's go.
Okay,
Let's
I'll
enjoy
tell you
ourselves."
why.
You know what
But
though?
Let me
You know
what they
tell
what
you
did,
though?
why.
You know what though?
Because
To
the
be fair,
average person, right.
Backstreet Boys wouldn't exist without Germany. If you think
Yeah.
about David Hasselhoff would only be Baywatch without Germany. You have to sometimes go to another country
Yeah.
that's 10 years behind the time because they're watching syndicated reruns in
Okay,
order to
why
make your
lie? I
content
will
fit.
tell you why. Forget the Backstreet Boys. You know what it is? Why would let's say if I'm the New World Order, why am I going to lie to you? Because you guys wake up. You are the peasants. You are the backseat guys, not the Backstreet
Yeah.
guys.
Well,
You
every
see,
generation. I feel like
that's the
I feel like
reality.
syndicated media is genius because what you can do is you can be like, all right, it's time. You know what? Activate. When we took America and we made everyone into laborists who were going to work in these giant megala corporations in the 1980s, let's put that video in. Oh, no, it's time. It's France. Let's make France watch ER and Friends. It's time. Chile. Let's make Chile watch ER and
Okay.
Friends so that they're ready. Will and Grace so that they stop producing.
Okay.
Let's do it. It's
Okay.
time.
Okay. It's not really like that. There are agendas, like there's Agenda 2030. Yeah. Do you know that up to half the world right now doesn't have proper toilets and proper sanitation for cleanliness after a toilet?
Absolutely.
One
absolutely.
quarter of the
Well, what
world
does
doesn't
proper
even have
mean? That's a very British term,
plug-in
proper.
toilet. Yeah, and the thing is, sat there in Europe and America, we're robbing their minerals, we're using them as slaves. You should be ashamed. You're disgusting. Yeah, that these people, yeah, forget this, I call it, some actor, this Greta, whatever. The reality is talking about, this green, whatever. The reality is people don't have
Frankly,
toilets. So now
anybody who doesn't have
Yeah,
a hole in the ground is kind of disgusting to me. No, like if you're like sitting on a throne, like you're
Yes.
kind of a capitalist. You know what I'm saying? Like you should really be squatting. It's better for your legs.
yeah, so yeah.
And this
yeah, so
also
they're
okay.
disgusting,
One more
but we are wearing
crazy
their
point.
clothes.
One more crazy point. Having a squatty toilet is direct for females is directly proportional to the amount of kids
Okay,
in your city.
You know what I like since you mentioned Mr. Sweden, Mr. Norway, Mr. France, Mr. Germany, Mr. England, Mr. Ireland. Yes, Monsieur America. Yes, Mr. America. You know what I got to say to you? Just look at your clothes. You look down on these people who don't have toilets. After they go to the toilet, they've got the shit on their hands. That shit, they didn't wash their hands properly. You're wearing the clothes right now. It's got the shit stains. You know what? It serves you right. How dare you talk about these people? Yes. And you're thinking of throwing them out, and even let's say even if Paris
Absolutely.
is half foreigners right now. Let's say Paris is half foreigners.
Paris
Yeah,
has always
it's
been half foreigners.
Paris. I think it's half foreigners, more than half. Yeah. So
Agreed.
now the thing is, what about the rest of France? Yeah, you want to talk, Monsieur France? Tu me parles de quoi? What do you want to talk about? Yes, you want to send me back to Algeria? I stopped the oil and the gas. Or what are you going to do? Come back and invade? Or you want the gas, so you are going to rape again? Your ancestors were rapists, don't you remember? Yeah. So right now, while you're singing and dancing and you're listening to morals, yeah, and you're saying, no, I don't agree with David. This was the reality. That's what our ancestors were doing from Europe and America. We were raping people. We were torturing people. There's thousands of photographs of the torture, the abuse, and the hands that we cut off in Algeria, people's hands we cut off in the Middle East, in Africa, in Latin America. You'll find the photographs online. And the thing is, even in the mixed races, you can still see it, that the people who are still a lot whiter in Indonesia, what people from Holland did, and many Danish people and Scandinavians from Norway, Sweden, and Finland who went to Indonesia, yes, with the Dutch East India Company, the rapes, the tortures they did, the slavery. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's sick. Yeah, and the thing is, you did that to them, and today you're complaining that their descendants are coming on boats. Oh, their descendants are working still to this day, $1 an hour and all the $1 a day, I mean. And the thing is, oh, you know what? That's just to keep even the water machines. Yes, how we make the water and the metal that comes from, Africa, or even from Baluchistan, or from Iran, or Pakistan, or India. I mean, we don't do the mining here. We're bringing it from India. We're bringing it from Africa. So these things. So I don't know why people are complaining.
What do you say to Chilicon Stud? What do you say to Chilicon Stud? He says his answer is don't be racist. That doesn't solve anything. What do you think about that? Do you think that that's true?
Solve what? Wait a minute. I don't know who he is. Yes,
he's some guy from Chile, and he probably, I'm in Chile's base to an extent.
Okay, I'm going to talk like Donald Trump.
You're worried about Chile because Chile, 1/30 of the population, is a new racial development.
I don't know who he is. I don't care who he is, but if he's complaining about the immigration, yeah, the whites invaded Chile. Yes, and the thing is, everyone's got to live together. And if the whites, they invaded Chile, the amount of rapes that they did, that the mestizos are there in Latino Americanos, yes, the mestizos, yes, and they are trying to say it's their land in Chile now. And then in Europe, they're complaining, Mr. Europe, Mr. Sweden, please bring all your brothers and cousins back from every country, from Uruguay, Paraguay, Venezuela, yes, Bolivia, from Peru, from Mexico, from El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, United States, Canada, Greenland. There's many more. It just goes on. The list goes on and on. There's more. South Africa, Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Angola, the rest of it. Take them home. And then, you know what? Send the others home. Do it if you want to talk about culture. And
yeah. But you gotta go back. You gotta go back. Okay, hold on. But let's not as saying Chilicon is a stud, and I believe it. It seems like he might be. And if you think about Chile, let's think about O'Higgins. Let's think about O'Higgins and O'Higgins being an immigrant. Let's remember that he was an oppressed Irishman in the Spanish Navy, controlled by the Arabs at one point. Okay. There's a lot to be said for this idea that everyone should represent themselves. I think it's fair.
We're talking about right now. Yes, the history we can go. Yeah, the history is going to make lots of fights. We're talking about right now.
Maybe because humanity. I think the general fundamental here is humanity is nomadic. Every individual is nomadic, and the most based humans seem to be ones that can leave their nation, go to another place, and to seek out a new opportunity.
Nobody wants to stay in the same place. They get bored. They get bored on a Friday night. That's why even the men, when they get married, they want side dishes.
I think you forget how weird you and I are. We're actually strange. You're an extremophile. You like to go see new things. There are a lot of people that want to live in Brooklyn in their own borough for the rest of all time. It might be the Italian borough or the Jewish borough that might stay there forever.
This is the first interview I've opened up on the benefits of a rules-based international order. I've always spoken against the people in power. Now I'm mentioning the good side. There is good people there. And let's support the good people in power. And it's all up to us. It's not just up to them. We can help people. We can build a better world. We don't have to waste. We don't have to do things like that. But I guarantee people aren't going to change. They're not going to do anything. So in the meantime, shut up and put up. Yes, and if you're not going to do with that, then you know what? Cultural genocide, white genocide. You know what? Yes, you know what? If you want to preserve the culture, yes, you know what? You want to send the Africans to Africa, the Asians to Asia, send the whites to Europe. Bring back 500 million people. Don't turn around and say, no, this is just about
What do
Europe. No,
you
you got
what
to
do
bring
you
your
what do
brother
you
back.
what do you what do you define as Europe? Does
European
Europe
culture.
include
It's
Australia and
European.
Israel? Are we using the Eurovision like model, or like is Europe only like not Turkey? Is
No,
Europe
no,
only the
no.
Christian?
We can't
Or
have
is
it
Europe
two ways.
is Let's be
There
honest
is
about what
no
Europe
debates about
is. Let's
this.
be honest about
Adolf
Europe and
or
Eurasia.
Saddam, Adolf, wait, Adolf would not have a debate about it. Yes, Saddam wouldn't have a debate about the Kurds. It was no. So when it comes to, David, I'm going to stand for get them out and people can vote for me. There is no debate. Either we're going to have just a one race Europe, yes, with the original European culture. It means get everything else out and bring back the original people who belonged here. We're going to bring them back. How dare! How dare they run away to go live with these other races? How dare they interbreed with them? Bring them home from Mexico now, from Argentina, from Australia. Bring the whites back from Canada. Not just send the others out, not send them home. Bring them back. You should come back home right now from the United States. How dare you come back to Europe
You should have to live in the
on
worst place
Indian territory?
possible.
It's
Vertical
because of you.
agriculture. Put them all in
It's
one
because
place.
you are on Indian land. It's your fault. It's your fault, Andreas. You're on Indian land. That's why we got Indians coming to Europe.
Well,
Yes. Simple as.
we wouldn't have
So the thing is, we can't have it either.
we wouldn't have Darman without the CIA and like oil crisis. If you think about it, like some of the best YouTube videos only exist.
Oh, the thing is, about that part. I've got a new book out next month. It's going to be called The New World Order. And the thing is, yeah, it's out next month. So that explains it a bit more in the book next month. But the thing is, it's a clear choice. If you're going, if you want them to go back home, then bring them back. Also, you can't have it both ways. If you want to keep your original culture, yes, then bring the original people back as well. Yes. And then let's see, 500 million people. Europe doesn't have room for 500 million more. We don't have 500 million foreigners here in Europe. I mean, whoever these people are who are screaming about it, that Europe's overflooded with migrants, I don't see 500 million migrants, do you? So the thing is, at the moment, yes, if you've got issues like there's agendas to do with the farming and to do with other things about the farming and to do with the transgender agenda or other things and there's things that you don't like, or you've got issues with religion, you can talk about it. There's peaceful ways. Yeah, you can participate in farming. You can participate in things like this. Or if you think that some culture is dying, let's say it's German culture or Russian culture or white Spanish culture, hold cultural events, do things, promote things. But the thing is, you can't have it both ways. Either get back to your donkey, sir, yes, yeah, and instead of these fast trains or using the airplane, switch off your mobiles, the microphones, because most of the components were made or prepared from places in other side of the world. Yeah, send that back too, because isn't that cultural invasion? You've got metal from Algeria, from Moroccans. I mean, there's enough of you people out there saying we don't like Moroccans, or from Turks, or from Pakistan. And then the worst thing is, oh, the Jews are behind this. The Jews are behind that. The Jews are doing this. Oh,
I
Henry
mean,
Kissinger was a
that's
Jew.
kind of one of my favorite because it's like if you're super anti-Jewish, how are you using semiconductors? What's your deal with using, Apple and Apache
I'm not against
servers?
anybody. I'm
How
not
are you
against
dealing with the fact that most
okay,
of that technology
okay,
requires Israel to exist? I'm just saying,
okay.
if you're really into talking to people around the world using online technology, you're
Yes,
pro-Israel.
yes.
You
So
don't know it,
that's
but you
another thing.
are. You
So
are.
yeah. So now the thing is, many people now the simple answer for Israel is this. Yes. You know what? They've said free Palestine. What do they say? From the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free. Okay, I have a great idea. Vote me in. I will send the Europeans. Yes, the European Zionists back to Europe. And at the same time, I will send all the Asiatics and all the Africans out of Europe. You also, so if there's any people who are from the Middle East here who are telling the Europeans to get out of the Middle East, I say to you, Muslims or Christian Arabs, if any of you Arabs, Indians, Pakistans, Algerians, Moroccans are listening, and you want the Europeans to get out, yes, from the Middle East, you want them to go home, you go home too. Fair is fair. You got to give and take. You go, you want them to get out. You want Israel to get out, then you get out also at the same time. Yes. Oh, by the way, when you're showing these pictures, of the Amish and these other groups.
I mean, I'm just looking. I've never seen a black Amish person before. That's pretty cool. I never knew that.
But the thing is, the clothes, yeah, these people who don't have toilets in the third world, Algeria, Morocco, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Yeah, when they didn't wipe their ass properly with shit stains, they touched the fabrics that you're wearing right now. And you still have the guts to condemn and say, get out, and you're saying they're invading here. What invasion are you talking about? There's 500 million of you Europeans over there. Yeah, bring them home and send them home. It's got to be both. Send them home. Send them home. Bring them home. Bring them home. Send them home. Send them home. Bring them home. Bring them home.
I mean, like, I hate to say it because it sounds like a soccer hooligan chant, and that would really work. But Silicon Stud,
who the hell is this?
Is Silicon Stud LDS? That's pretty base too. Silicon Stud is a base.
Oh, wait, look at this garbage here. They built cities, blah blah blah.
Brigham Young fought with governor about where to put the mile marker in LLC.
The ancestors didn't even have half the food. They brought these slaves, often trains white children from Europe. Yes, the slaves did the farming so that their ancestors could do the construction. They had black slaves, Indian slaves to do the farming so that the pioneers could do the pioneering. But they kidnapped people from Europe. What do you mean your ancestors over there, Mr. Chile in America or wherever, building cities? You kidnapped children from Europe. Send them home. Bring them back. We want them back. Who the hell are you?
To be fair to David here, Brigham Young's winter traversal was the most, decimating. It killed a lot of people. It was a pretty dangerous trail.
History is a lie.
And once the people that made it got there, then they did send trains because the Western Pacific, who made California. They made because people think about like people wagoning across the Pioneer Trail, but Oregon Trail, the Mormon Trail. What happened was the United Pacific ended up bringing in a lot of trains, which brought in children.
Yes, so the story is a lie. And the thing is, when they brought the people, there's other things. They built cities in America. They were pioneers. They kidnapped children from Europe. We want them back in Europe. Send them back. Yeah, they used them as slaves and you built the country. You kidnapped children. What pioneers are you talking about? My Bolstein mates. Yes, we'll see who votes for you. Yes, you kidnap people. What pioneer is that? Slavery. And then there's other people who are going to say, oh, the pioneers look strong. They had clothes on and shoes. What about the cotton farms in India? These pioneers are wearing clothes. What about the slaves that were in the plantations in the Indian subcontinent and in the Middle East that the Europeans had over there? It was even a global system then. They would have been naked. They wouldn't have had the time. How could naked people have built anything? Then what about the food that they had the black people doing a lot of the farming and the native Indians doing farming? They wouldn't have even had the food. They'd be busy doing farming and making clothes. They would have still been in Europe living in the Middle Ages.
You know what KRS-One is? There's a lot of point to what you're saying here. You think about KRS-One and say the nation of hip hop. You might think of the nation of Islam. You might think of the nation of America, which are the American ideology extends all over the Western Hemisphere and maybe outside of it. The idea of the fraternal American order might be a French idea that's not even from America. So maybe there's something to the idea that nations are ideological, that people are migratory, and that idea that people are nomadic, that might be important.
I will explain to you because I've spoken to many politicians who are high up. Nation-state borders were created so that you could develop that area under your control, under certain regions. Like Mike Ferreira, he's a great researcher. People can look out for him. Mike Ferreira, he's even shown that the African nation-state borders are based on mineral regions for mining and other things for control, so that you could build an economy there and then build civilization and things for the people. Yeah, you invent the fake history and the language, whichever one you want to use within those borders. But the thing is, let's talking about it right now. People could talk about the history and whatever. We're talking about right now. Either we can cause conflicts and destroy what we've built. Yes, and if we destroy what we've built, millions of people are going to suffer. Or we can improve what we've got. You want to do organic farming? I mean, for God's sake, they can do it in Algeria. I mean, if they can do it, are you trying to say that they're stronger humans? The men in Europe are strong. Why can't the men do it? So if you're going to put a comment and say something, no, it's what, genocide, you tell your people, go to and work to a farm. Yes, and say, so what if it's low salary? Tell the people in your city to actually start farming. Why won't they do it? Why won't they do it? Because they know they don't want to. Go on, start preaching. Stop turning around blaming the immigrants and say somebody worked for 5 years, then they got residence. I'll show you how the population goes up of the foreigner in Europe. You bring a man from India or from Algeria or Morocco or Pakistan. So you brought one man. He worked for 5 years, then he's given residency. He's allowed to bring his wife, his children. He's probably got 3, 4, and he can bring his parents, and his wife can bring their parents. So now you've just let in, from one man, you've just let in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people have come in because of one man. Because we can't even find one guy who wants to work in farming. We can't even find that one guy. What's wrong with you Europeans? It's the Europeans. And then they're saying we've got 10 migrants who've just ended up in Belfast. Yeah, when those local people don't want to do the farming, get off your backside. Tell your sons, your daughters, your neighbors, we must do the farming. We must do that. Give up your cars. Go back to the horses. Remember our grandparents used to walk. There weren't enough buses in the 60s and 50s. We didn't even have horses. People can afford them. That was for the rich. We had our donkeys. Yeah, we could start breeding donkeys. We don't need any of this anymore. Yeah, we don't need showers in winter. We don't need the electric and the gas. We can wait till spring. You know, like the old festivals, you know, the old European festivals that they call Nowruz, that the Muslims have kept. You know, Nowruz means Novi Russia, or the New Year, you know, like twice a year, Easter, and then the other, like you've got Passover, Rosh Hashanah, Easter, you know, the equinoxes. You know, we can bring back these old European festivals that are based on the Northern Solar Calendar. Let's do it. People should just use one light bulb. They can use candles. I mean, what's wrong with them? We can manufacture candles. We can actually do that from the mining here. I mean, the thing is, if you don't want to do mining, you can do what your grandparents did. They did mining, didn't they? They started when they were age 7 and 8. Yeah, and then you're going to complain and say, oh, the Muslims are doing mining and their daughters who are 9, 10, 11 are getting married. Didn't your grandparents do that? Didn't they do that in Europe or Mr. England? That's why they call them inbreds in every city in England, in Germany. They're inbreds because they married their cousins. Yes, go and check. Yes, and you know what to do? I mean, you've got your children. There's the hills. Yeah, go and get a permit. Get the local people in your city just to get the hill, and they can start getting the coal out. You could put the coal, and from there, you know, you don't even need a lamp at night. The coal fire, it's enough light. And then, so what if your children breathe the smoke? So what if you can have 6, 7, 8 children like the 1971 or 2 could die from the smoke? I mean, what's wrong with that? Don't worry, you'll have about 3 of them will survive, or 4 after the age of 30 or 40. Come on, let's go back to the original.
You look at the Mennonites. The Mennonites, man.
No,
Pennsylvania. You got 13 kids, and you got 13 kids. If you have 13 kids, you have 130 grandkids.
Wait, expand that picture.
130 grandkids. 130 grandkids.
They are using modern machinery. They're full of bullshit. They're using paper in their hands. They've got electric machinery. They're using many of the clothes they wear are made on machines. Some of
So
them
you're
even wear
saying
glasses.
is
They're even
there no
wearing
point that you
glasses
can
from modern machines. Yeah,
is
they
there
use
no
a lot of.
well
They've
wait
even got the modern chairs there. Yes,
all
they're
right
sat in a park where they
is
use the
there
modern machine to graze
is
the
there
park.
well I like that I like the idea that after
Do you
40
know what
years
they
of
should do?
everyone else
You
fooling
know what they
around with
should do? I
computers
think
they can look once hold on I'm curious
I
let me just
want.
ask this
I want white European
if you get
culture.
rid of Facebook
I don't want this culture. You know what we should do? They should get on their knees and tell their 7-year-old children to cut the grass. Do it
well
like they
I
did in
think that
1910.
let me
How
ask my
dare
question
you?
if you look at
How
the
dare you give up
if you look
this
at
European white culture? How dare you? Who do you
because
think you are? You're white yourself. Yes, you.
because Jewish people invented Linux and it's pretty cool. I like the idea. Okay, there's a Finnish
The
guy who
Jewish
did the
people.
like kernel.
The Jewish
No,
people.
I think
Don't you know?
after 40 years of Farmville and
Just go
Facebook
to
and Google
Israel.
and
There's so
AOL and
much
all this crap, if the
in
old
Israel.
order
Every
people
person has got
wait,
children.
hold on. If the old order wait long enough so that they can start trying to use new order technology and they find that after 40 years, here's the amount of technology we can use. We should have
No,
email
there is
from
more
our
technology.
library so that we can
You
sell
understand?
stuff to the English.
There
I
is
think
a
there's a
lot more
reasonable
technology. It's like
you don't think
I know because
you
the
don't think
Americans.
you don't think that after like 100 years they can figure out how to
Okay, I don't
incorporate a
need to
little bit
think.
of our modern
There's a
technology?
difference between. There's a difference. Like I said, I don't need to think about this. Because I was in China. I did a lot of business there. I've been to factories that are going to produce things that are electronically so amazing that the machines are ready now to get products out in 20 years' time. So the thing is, when you're saying it, it's not just a saying. This technology is really there. But the thing is, the main thing is the new world order. There's good and bad people. Now, Raphael, do you have anything else to say before I go? Is there anything that you would like to say?
Well, what I'd like to do is actually ask Nachiketa if he has any question or comment. I really like that you today kind of laid out the other way, even though maybe the volume levels were high sometimes, but you know, for some people that can
It's
be
not
fun to
high.
help them pay
It is not
attention.
high. It is not high. Whose side are you on? I mean, you wanted to do the organic farming. Get up and do it yourself.
No, all I was
Yes.
pointing out is that also here there is a great
Not
disparity
only
in
you,
terms
all
of
your neighbors, everybody in your city.
yes,
Go
just
and
let me
do it
finish.
like the 19th century in Vienna. Who do these
No,
Austrians think they are and the Viennese? Yes, they're living in beautiful cities. They can just come out of the door in the morning, go buy a pack of cigarettes in the tobacco farms in Latin America. I mean, who the hell do they think
Yeah,
they
but
are?
you know,
Yes,
not only
what I
the
mean.
only the deepest
Whatever.
most based fans will know that Nachiketa has been here almost the whole while listening in, and he know what he's a man
Okay.
who's lived around the world. He's lived in America, he's lived in India, he's seen how people are living in
Yes.
this world, all because of this
Okay,
cappuccino
Nachiketa,
economy
what do you
exchange.
have to say?
All right, David. It's always good to hear from you, but you gotta like slow down a little bit, man. I mean, like I have a lot of respect, as you know, and so does Andreas and Raphael. And I'm gonna address the elephant in the room, which is that you tend to overtalk and hog the mic a little bit, just to give people a little bit of space to let them be able to speak up a little bit. That's all I have to
Ah,
say. But hey, listen,
ah,
David,
ah,
David, sir.
No, no, no. Today, no, I'm speaking as a politician, by the way. I don't know if you've been here all the way through. I was pretending to be a politician. Yeah,
Fair enough,
I'm
and
Yes,
he
yeah.
was. That's a fact.
that's all it
Well,
was.
well,
I
you're
don't.
doing a
It's not about that
fantastic job
talking.
of being a
I'm not
politician.
a supporter.
Absolutely.
I'm not a supporter of the New World Order or against. I say there is good people and bad people there, and we can all help to build a better world. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying there is good
Absolutely.
things there and bad things. And I'm saying let's not be racist and let's not destroy the world we've got. That's what
Well,
I'm
okay,
saying.
but
That's the main thing.
beyond just like the vain critique, there was Nachiketa had a really good question earlier, which is about the solutions, right? Well, Nachiketa, you wanted to ask about what are the solutions individually and collectively, how we can work towards a particular goal. Is that right? Is
How
that kind of
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
set
yeah.
an example. I've set an example. Go on my Facebook timeline. Last year there was a drought in Morocco and there were floods in Bangladesh. And to both countries, I sent several thousand people money. To some individual people, I gave them like many families, I gave them $10, $15 each. Not families, individual people, many families. I gave them up to $50 to €100, and I did that for 2-3 months in Morocco and in Bangladesh. 2 regions. I made a video. Have you found it? It's called Sedaka on my Facebook timeline. Have you found it? Yeah. In fact, what to do is at the end of this video, at the end, if you upload it separately after the live, what you could do is put it there and show it, something like that. I don't know. But the thing
Digging
is,
for
I do
your,
it
I'm digging
myself.
right now.
I work hard. I do my best to get money. It's like things like
And
this.
like,
So
yeah,
far,
and
all
circumstances where they've tried to make sure that a family is stuck so that they can't actually accumulate any sort of sustainable wealth so they can invest in their future. You're trying to say, hey, let's hack that system really
we
quickly
can all
because.
help, even within our own neighborhoods.
And I'm a
It's
big
like we
fan of
can all
that.
help.
I think everyone should hack that system. You know, it used to be that people, I don't know if this is everywhere, but my family would send money back to Yugoslavia from America. I think that everyone
Yes.
in Mexico that I know has been sending money back to Mexico. There's nothing
No,
wrong with that. I think that's the most
no, it's still
American freaking
happening
thing
right now.
possible.
It is
Basically,
well known.
this is America. This is America. You try to get, like, after your war-torn country that America, by the way, has destroyed, you get some immigrants into the United States. They get some money together. They send it back to your country so that you can kind of
Yes,
sustain it. And by the time you're in
yes.
America, you're like a little
And
too successful. You get out. You get out of America. America's not a place for too successful people. It's a
yes,
place for the upper middle class. That's it. That's basically all it's
yes.
for.
Yes. So then, after they destroyed the place, the Americans will say, we just redeveloped the place. Because they
Right.
joined Europe, it was us, the Americans and the Europeans, but they didn't do anything.
All of that
It was
Miltonian
remittances. Like I said, in
economics, right?
Croatia. Yeah. So the thing is, Croatia is one place even right now. There's huge remittances from the expatriate community.
Is
But
this
the thing
real
is,
or is this
yes,
AI? What is this right now? This is based. You got Palestine and Israel on your Facebook timeline here. I like this.
that's a real photograph. Yeah, I
Pretty
think it was
based.
some
Pretty
fashion
based.
show or something, or a peace show. But type in Sedaka, I think it's spelled
We're about. Let me
SEDAK.
also just tell people really quickly. We're about to re-upload
Sure.
Ancient Greece. Did not exist on the channel, so you'll be able to watch this on the Exertus channel. You'll see this coming up very soon. This is the next one
Yeah.
to look forward to, and then let's
Anyway,
look up.
Raphael Andreas, it's because the thing is, I'm dying to go to the lavatory and other things. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, is there any other final question?
I guess the point is basically you made the ironic point that immigration, sending everybody home is silly because you get sent home too, and
I'm
that's
saying
not a
be
real
nice. Be
solution,
nice
right?
to
That's not a. We all get sent. Yeah. So what is the real solution? Is the solution that we figure out what the new world order
Be
is,
nice.
or
Let's build a wall together. Let's have fun. Let's have fun. Let's work hard. Let's build a nice world. You see? That's
I tend to
we
agree.
should
We
do.
have access to
And
all this technology. We have access to all of the antiquitech. We could build a new world from it.
Yeah.
Everyone has the
Yes.
capacity to invest by voting in what they want to purchase.
Right now. It's happening right now. We're actually
Right.
doing that right now. It's not just saying. There's people working in all parts of the world who are doing it right now. And yes,
What should you
half
actually be concerned
half the
about?
New World Order.
What's the actual
What
thing
should
you
I
don't
be
want to
concerned
happen?
about? Is
Yeah, what do you want to happen?
what I don't want to happen is Europe and America to collapse because it took us a long time to build. And now I want the rest of the world to move forward and Europe and America to improve. And when the rest of the world does improve, let me just be honest with you. If I lived in Toronto and I was from Mexico, you know what? When Mexico becomes a better economy in just 25 years, I'm
Absolutely.
leaving Toronto. Don't worry.
100%.
And you were
100%.
racist. You didn't
Mexico's
even want me
amazing. Yeah,
I'm
don't tell
leaving.
anybody.
No,
Surfing
Toronto
sucks,
is
don't
nice in
try it.
summer, but the
Yeah.
thing is, I'm going. Guadalajara, it's amazing. The people are so friendly. Many of these other
Hard
historical
workers,
places,
cool
it's like it's
people,
warm.
beautiful country. Yeah. That's
No,
it.
it's
Everything
warmer.
about it. Yeah.
It's warmer. And
It's amazing.
if I'm if I'm Moroccan or Algerian in Holland, you just voted in, Geest, Wilders, or yes, you know what? Yeah, just wait another 25,
Everything's
30 years. When
possible in
their
Mexico.
country is ready, they're probably going to go back. By the way, if you look at, if you look at Turkey and the economy has improved so much now. Turkish people themselves, the number of migrants coming from Turkey has almost gone down. It's gone down so much that they don't even want to come anymore. And many Turks have actually gone back, and many more are probably going to go back in the next 25 years. So the thing is, let's not keep this racist thing. And not only that, yeah, many people from Europe want to go from the north. It's too cold. If we break the system down, we suffer. We are going to suffer. It's because we want the gas, we want the electric, we want the products. That's that. Yes. And like I said to Nachiketa's question, yes, the thing is, the politician part, I'm just acting to show you the reality, to show you how these right-wing people are spreading the evil message. Yeah, how they are spreading hatred online and other places with their videos. They talk in a crazy way. But I said it just to vote me, you know. Well, if you do want to vote me, it depends how the price you're willing to pay. Me, Andreas, and Raphael, we might reconsider if you pay us a great amount.
I'm pretty sure that if you vote for us, our future will be better than other futures. That's pretty clear.
Yes, we will be your three stooges.
Right. But for Stooges for a better the Three Stooges for a better agenda. I think that's the campaign.
Yeah.
Right. And we'll throw a Nachiketa in there just so that he gets put into the same tribunal. We want him to have to go to.
Yeah. And I ask people, I tell people, yes, there's bad things in history. Yes, there's things we don't like about immigrants. Their religions saying, he's a Jew, or we don't like Islam. And all this, he's black, yeah, you know, things like this. But you know what? Yeah, guess what? Let's make the world beautiful. You don't know the consequences of what could happen. I mean, the 1905 revolution destroyed Eastern Europe for a long time. Right. The collapse of Moscow destroyed Europe. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire destroyed the Middle East.
The 1936 Olympics are interesting to me because Germany hosts them, and they have Jesse Owens, who's a black man, and a lot of black celebrities from America, Olympians from America, and they're so impressive, and they get so many awards that German kids are rubbing mud on their skin, saying, "I wish I was Jesse Owens," right? And that's 1936. Right, so obviously there's a solution here through interaction. This seems pretty clear.
Yeah, but there's many people who wish that they're not black. Okay, yeah, the thing is, you know what?
Because they've never seen Jesse Owens. That's the main reason, I think.
And if you're worried about the high birth rate, the foreigners' birth rate in Europe goes down after they've been here for 20 years. For most of the group, it actually goes down. It only goes up in the first generation, then it goes down.
Because then 136.
Don't worry. And yeah, anybody who's saying the number of whites is going down, they're lying. They're lying. They're lying. They've gone to other places around the world. They're lying. They're lying. Okay. So the thing is, let's build a better world. That's my message. Yeah. Enjoy life. Have fun. Forget these conspiracies. If there is any real conspiracies that are bad and things, you know what to do. That is when make a stand. Make a stand if there's killings or murders of children or some rape by anybody in your area, and let the police do their job. What do you think the police are there for? What do you think the police are going to do? They're going to deal with these criminals anyway. If you're a criminal, they'll deal with you too. Yes, but don't destroy our homelands where we're in right now, because they're beautiful. Yes, and if you're worried about the migrants, by the way, many Indians, Pakistans, and Moroccans, Algerians have already gone back home. Many people don't know. They made their money here in 20, 30 years. Many Turks have gone home. And the thing is, the way the world economy is going, after 50 years, Europe doesn't need to worry, or America. Many of the non-whites are probably going to go, because the other side of the world is getting modern. And nobody's even thinking of how many whites are living in even places like Turkey, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. They've brought their summer houses. They don't want to come back. And the millions who've just gone to live in the Caribbean, in black countries, they don't want to come back. The thing is, let's not spoil this world, with hatred and stupid protests, making violence, whether it is right wing or Islamism or evangelism or Quranism. Come on. The thing is, if somebody's going to say God is going to intervene, come on. You're not God. It's you. It's God who's not doing the bad things. It's us. And it's up to us. We could do the better things. It's up to us. Okay, let's leave it at that. Okay, Raphael, Andreas?
Super Bass, Nachiketa, thank you for joining us. Everybody go to David Ewing Jr. up on his page here. David Ewing Jr. You can also check out all of the books he's written. Skull and Bones, Ancient Greece did not exist. There's just hundreds and hundreds of amazing pieces of content now available both in book form
Yes,
and
and this is
on
the only time
video.
I've spoken in. Yeah, this is
First time
the
you've been
only
live.
time I've spoken in defense of the positive side of the New World Order. This is the first time and probably the only time. Or I normally don't do this. Yes, normally I show the negative things, which I rightly do so, because if there's something wrong, we speak against it. But there are many things that are right, and we don't want to destroy these right things. It's right and it's true that we're lazy. Even I don't want to do the farming. Sorry, I'm very sorry. It's fun sometimes, but like for a lifetime, I don't want to work in these factories. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the thing is, at least I'm being honest. So the thing is, we've set up a rules-based system, and yes, I know that I'm abusing it, that I'm taking advantage of the clothes that are coming from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the electronics coming from
the real obvious truth is
Indonesia,
that the obvious truth is that can't
Vietnam,
live
China.
forever. Kissingerian economics, where you outsource factory towns, can only exist for a few generations
What you see in
longer.
public is a lie. What we're told in public about what happened with Kissinger, just read my book.
I just
Alpha and
mean that
Omega
you can't
codes and
always
Matrix codes,
outsource
and
building lead
Kissinger's
toys to
prophet.
other countries. At a certain point, that might stop being possible if everyone does it. At a certain
It's
point,
not
people might learn
toys.
the lesson.
It's not toys we're talking about. We're talking about soaps, detergents,
The difference
all
between
the
men and
components
boys
in
and the
your
price
shower,
of their
in the
toys.
machine, in the shower.
You know.
People think that China and India, Vietnam, Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh are manufacturing toys. Just look at your power stations, the components, the pipes, every
We
single
can call it
detail they're
widgets,
basically
but
making these days.
widgets. I mean, I feel like Mennonites could live without it. So anything at all
It's
that you
not
don't need
widgets.
is a
Yeah,
toy.
even your sewage system, everything, and the mining materials and many of the things. The thing is,
True.
we have no idea that we're living off
Right.
75% maybe or 85% of produce or things that are connected to the third world. And if we get rid of them, then we're doomed. We're doomed.
True.
And basically. You know what I mean? And if you want to play Doom, yeah, and if you're going to speak up with your videos, YouTube videos, and say, I've got my right-wingism or my
True.
Islamism or
True.
my
The
evangelism
most-
or Quranism,
The most
why don't
horrible
you
solution
say,
is isolation.
you know what? I challenge you to start doing farming yourself and post videos online every day where you're picking potatoes, digging the seeds, doing it with your bare hands in an organic way without the machinery that depends on parts and minerals from the third world. And because you don't want these people here, or you've got your right-wing agenda or left-wing agenda or
it's
whatever.
Mennonite or it's Amish or bust. Basically, at that point,
I challenge
you're done.
Even the Mennonites are using the electric machines. Everyone knows this. They're using the roads and the pathways with the cement and everything. Yeah. A lot of the things that they're actually using are modern amenities. Tell them to go back to the original. Keep the original. Tell them to go back to Europe. Go back to Europe. You want to be original. If some right-wing people want to say original culture, yes, bring them back. They're there. Bring them back, mister. Okay, that's the end of the politics. I'm normally not a politician, but I normally don't express my opinions and views. I did it today. And I've said there's good things, and I've said there's lots of bad things. I spoke against the Israeli army for the abuses, the American army for the abuses. And today I'm speaking for the positive side of what the New World Order's done. There are many positive things they've done.
David, you're acting as a little too convincing.
Yes.
You're acting as a little too convincing.
Well, I hope you vote for me and donate to my party. Go back home. Yes, please donate and then please contribute and support my political party.
David Andreas. Raf David Andreas. Raf David Andreas. Raf David Andreas. Neuropa. 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 Raf David Andreas. Flamenco. Flamenco, flamenco. Ralph, David, Andreas. David, you can do it. 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 Ralph, David, Andreas. Ralph, David, Andreas. Ralph, David, Andreas. Ralph, David, Andreas. Flamenco, Neuropa. Flamenco.